You were just saying, I decide now that because of your opinion, you don't get to be a real American.
When did I ever say that?
Not
I
you,
never said
Biden.
you weren't an American. I mean, I will say this is probably the one of those inflammatory things that I say. People who refuse to get the vaccine are bioterrorists.
That's such an empty thing to say. Like, that's
Welcome to the party. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus. Welcome to the party, everybody. I figured let's not bury the lead and show you, yes, it does get that deep. Welcome to the party. I am very excited to share this one with you guys. Guys, make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Try that again. 8 p.m. Eastern. And sometimes whenever I feel like it, so hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to TheIndianJesus.com for your very own official merch like the projection shirt only at TheIndianJesus.com. Guys, we do also have a Discord server. It's like a giant group chat 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And it's a really great place to meet people. And like I said, it's free. Absolutely free to join. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below the video, hit that join button. There's a few different tiers here, but it starts at just $2.99 a month. Gets you members-only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it also opens up the full Discord server, which not only includes the group chat, but the after party. So as soon as we are done here, we are headed over there, and it's a voice channel. And we don't have to worry about any YouTube censors or anything like that. And you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Definitely come and join us. Shout out to TV Viewerski. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. So I've had this one waiting to share with you guys for a while. And I've mentioned it on stream a bunch of times where it's like, oh, this kid called me a bioterrorist right on my own stream and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know. It just felt like the right time. You guys really did seem to enjoy the last time we did a debate review. So I figured, let's do it. Please don't make fun of my hair, and please don't make fun of how dark I was, because this was December of 2021, before I was even the Indian Jesus. I was still going by my previous my previous podcast. It was the I Didn't Read Your Book podcast. The whole idea being, you know, all the people that I want to interview, they have books, right? So if I have a book podcast, then I can, you know, that will work out. And I'm not trying to read all these books. So here's the plan. You have a book, you come and tell me what it is. I didn't read your book podcast, so I didn't read it. So me and you alike, we would talk to the author. And then, you know, I gotten into this political stuff, and this was very, very early on. Shout out to King Nirvana. We got to see a little sneak peek of this. But let's do it, guys. I am excited. Welcome to the party. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know. And welcome back to I Didn't Read Your Book. I am your host, Lutch. Today, we are actually not doing a podcast, but another iDrive Live. We are waiting on Anirudh, who has some choice words to say. He tweeted out the other day that if you ever find yourself aligned with the likes of Tim Pool, that you're crazy or you did something wrong or something along those lines, and asked him for an example. And he sent me two Tim Pool clip videos from the podcast, from Thincast IRL. One was saying how Tim is all down for universal health care until it gets to the point of deleting the private option. I'm going to start the I Didn't Write a Book podcast. Well, I don't know what guests you would get on there, but I think that is a great idea, which makes sense to me. I mean, there was more in the video, but I couldn't discern whether there was anything else relevant in there. But again, he sent two, so I thought maybe there was a discrepancy. So in the second video, it was just all about, you know, how he's adamantly against the jab mandates. And yeah, I didn't see anything there. I mean, it sounds like he wants people to be taken care of, but he wants people to have
choice. So whenever Anirudh actually gets here,
So then I just vamp for a little bit. We'll wait till he gets there, and then I recap what we're doing.
Ben himself, Anirudh Garg.
All right, and so this is Anirudh Garg of the Dialectic. I looked at his channel; it is tagged in the description, as well as if you'd like to see this without my commentary, it is unlisted, but the link is in the description. So yeah, I'm not sure what's good with Anirudh these days. I did tag his channel, but he hasn't posted in a couple years. So I mean, hey, if he's here and he wants to come up and defend himself, then I am more than happy to do that. But let's just do this for now. Anirudh Garg.
Hey, Lutch. Great to be here.
How you doing, man?
Now you can hear me fine, right?
Yep.
All right, perfect.
All right. So I was vamping a little bit while you were dealing with your issues. I was basically just laying out the situation. And you know, to be fair to you, I think we've talked about our, you know, a little bit of where this conversation starts, but to be fair to you, just kind of reiterating what I just said, that you know, your original tweet about if you agree with Tim Pool, then I was like, example, you gave the two.
Yeah, so again, just going through all of that. Shout out to Leslie McDowell in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So there's actually no such thing as a conservative libertarian in classic sense of the words. Conservative libertarians are so oxymoronic that Meyer named the movement fusionism. It fuses conservatism and libertarianism. Fair enough. Shout out to Liberty Plus TV. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I used to be a libertarian socialist back when I was effing retarded, and that tracks. That tracks. Welcome to the party, guys. Very good to see you. You said I have a feeling that if we ever get UHC? UHC. What's UHC? I don't get it. But yeah, all right, let's dive into this.
All right, I guess that's a first.
So I guess let's start there.
All right, I guess that's a good place to start.
So when you said something along the lines of, if you're ever in agreement with Tim Pool, you're crazy or you're wrong, or you know, it's no bueno. Whatever the terminology was is irrelevant. You're basically just saying Tim Pool is not the kind of guy you want to agree with, right? That was just
No, well, not in the sense that anything.
So wait, you saying? I'm feeling if we were to get universal health care, it would be forced on. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Want to agree with, right? That was just.
No, well, not in the sense that anything that Tim Pool says is categorically wrong. I just feel like a lot of his thought processes come from a place of extreme. I would say, I would be kind. I'm not going to call him a grifter. He seems like a genuine person. It seems to come from a place of deep ignorance and almost a incredible skepticism, and not the kind that's healthy in a scientific way, but a type of skepticism that's almost borderline conspiracy theory.
Yeah, you don't trust the institutions. And fast forward 3 years, and everybody was right except for you.
So where do you? So I don't know what necessarily what you're referring to in the first example, but I can definitely understand where you're coming at with the skepticism thing and bordering on conspiracy. So.
And so while we're talking about that, the running poll is it possible to be a socialist libertarian? That is what Anirudh considers himself, or did at the time of recording, and didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Shout out to Nick Luchetti in the building, moderator to the stars. Very, very, very good to see you, brother. Let's do it.
The skepticism thing and bordering on conspiracy. So give me an example of that, because I don't know. I can understand what you may be referring to, but I was also saying that you know, Tim can get pretty animated, and it's very easy to clip things out, and then you see that. And if you're not a regular viewer of the show, which most of his viewers are, so he will say things without explaining the entire thing every time, because he knows that people have heard him say it before. And so that's what I'm thinking, that you have seen clips that are out of context. And but I mean, like I was saying, you're a very smart, very well-read dude. I trust that if you saw something like that, you would look for some type of larger context.
Probably not. Like I said, if you are a classic libertarian, you would not advocate for founding fathers who were controlling markets, borders, and laws. And yeah, I definitely personally find myself more in line with a libertarian mindset than a conservative mindset. But I am not starkly in either of those camps. And, I really do consider myself politically homeless, which I got from Tim, but we'll get there.
I trust that if you saw something like that, that you would look for some type of larger context. But I don't know how familiar you are with him, and so I'm just looking for something to nail down that we could talk about specifically.
Yeah, so I have, before I made those tweets, I did do a little bit more watching of Tim Pool. I actually used to follow him a bit back in like 2017. I really like some of the journalist work that he did, but after he started doing his streams, it just, I view Tim Pool in the same category as like Joe Rogan, where once in a while, good content, but for some reason, going off of weird tangents that are very incoherent.
So, I mean, I nodded there when he said that, but that was me just being like, oh, I liked him and I like Joe. But even before the COVID insanity with Rogan, nobody considered that a political show. It was Joe Rogan talking about stuff that Joe Rogan wanted to talk about. Does it align with this or that or whatever? Sure, but it's not a political show. And I should have known better then. Let's see. Socialism was created by an anarchist, Pierre Leroux, in 1832. It jives with libertarianism. Socialism had absolutely nothing to do with government before Karl Marx commandeered the term. Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. And I believe Anirudh here was studying econometrics at the time. So he, maybe he knows better than me.
From a political sense, at least.
Was that an example of a conspiracy?
Oh, sure. I can give one of my favorite examples for Tim Pool is his argument against so he's ostensibly against big pharma. He doesn't want healthcare to be controlled by large multinational corporations. And
he's not ostensibly against big pharma. He's against the mandates, but
using that, he funnels.
Yeah, exactly, Nick. That's what everybody liked about Joe Rogan. It wasn't a political show. They might talk politics, but it was the UFC Fear Factor guy just, talking about space and apes and weed and fighting and stuff like that and comedy.
Want healthcare to be controlled by large multinational corporations. And using that, he funnels a lot of his distrust of vaccines. He believes that a lot of these
use the word jab because we're on YouTube.
Oh, the old days where we couldn't even say vaccine.
Said we're on YouTube, so let's use the word
jab.
Right,
sorry. The jab. He believes that a lot of the jabs were pushed forward without the correct scientific backing. And because Moderna and Pfizer are making incredible amounts of money from the widespread use of the jab, that there's some sort of conspiracy to get people vaccinated for the sake of the profits of multinational corporations. And I think this is kind of an issue that I have with populists in general, which is they take real trends, which is there are companies.
So hold on. Okay, so let's not go to populists and all this and that. Because the last time we did a stream, we were all over the place and went for a long time. So I know you have a heart out. So
that's the previous time I had a debate, discussion, live stream, whatever with Anirudh. It was very messy and it did go all over the place, which is why when I try to do these things, I like to have a very specific question so we can stay on that topic. Leslie said, well, if you're a conservative in the social sense, yes. You can be both, but most conservatives are loyal to kings, oligarchs, and politicians. This is why it's oxymoronic. Fair, but again, we also have to keep in mind that even though, when we talk about the current state of the Democratic Party, they're not acting very liberal. And so colloquially, that people are going to use these terms in the way that they hear them. So I definitely hear you. I'm not saying you are wrong. I'm just saying to understand when other people are using these terms and maybe in a way that does or doesn't make as much sense, then we kind of understand. Oh, that's where you're coming from, even though that's not what those words really mean.
Well, because the last time we did a stream, we were all over the place and went for a long time. So I know you have a heart out. So if we can stay as focused as possible. So. All right. You are correct in the sense that Tim believes that when it comes to the profit incentives, that big pharma, that whole age-old thing that big pharma, they're doing this for. Yes, there is that aspect.
I'm also very curious on your guys' opinion, not just of the discussion and how I fared in this discussion, but differences between that Lutch and this Lutch. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say.
But if you are under the impression that that is his primary reason to be against the mandates, then you're simply mistaken. So I'm now asking.
If that is a reason of his, that's a stupid reason.
Why?
That's a very stupid reason, because your argument against it's the equivalent of me saying that because Tim Pool made a couple of bad takes, every take that he is making is stupid.
How is
Just
that?
like
Shout out to Kelly Green in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. This was from before even you showed up. Even you. This is before your time. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I like to keep it dark these days, but back then I would just this is the restaurant I used to work at, the Green Turtle, which I probably shouldn't say that online, but whatever.
because if Pfizer and Moderna are pushing for the widespread adoption of their vaccine, every drug company tries to lobby through the FDA that somehow
I'm gonna slow down a little
that's
bit.
indicative. Tim Pool made a couple of bad takes. Every take that he is making is stupid.
How is
Just
that?
like because if Pfizer and Moderna are pushing for the widespread adoption of their vaccine, every drug company tries to lobby through the FDA that somehow that's indicative of some faulty science, which those are two distinct processes. One, the political
I
process.
thought we were talking
of
about
getting
I
regulation.
thought we were talking about profits.
So once again, right, there are two drivers of the profit motive, right? The ability to get certified and sold in the market, and also being internally valid to where the product can be moved, right? If the science is underlying is fine. So if the science is concrete, then any argumentation against the science based off of your distrust of their profit motive is very ridiculous.
I heard you say that the first time. I'm asking you
Why? You're just saying the thing. You can't just say the thing and be like, well, I think this. And you go, okay, why? And then I ask why, and then just reiterates the point.
Yeah, because the argument of the profit motive has no bearing on whether the scientific research is valid.
Right.
So I'll give you an example.
So, but I'm not. That's okay. So let me ask you again.
So yeah. So remember, this was all you're saying that Tim flirts with conspiracies. So I asked him for a conspiracy, and now he's saying that talking about profit motives with big pharma.
Why is it incorrect or hypocritical to say that if somebody has a profit margin that they are, or if they have profit incentive, that they are incentivized to make that profit?
No. It's not hypocritical. The actual statement. Let me rephrase this. Maybe you're misunderstanding me, or maybe I'm not explaining myself clearly. Tim Pool.
Good Freudian slip. Tim Pool.
Freudian slip. Freudian slip.
Freudian slip. Tim Pool attributing a mischaracterization, or Tim Pool attributing negative outcomes of the vaccine, or questioning the science of the vaccine, questioning that it was rushed, based off of the ability for the company to lobby through FDA regulations, is a very poor critique of the underlying science.
Okay,
If
and
the
I agree
belief
with
is
you.
the jab is dangerous, critique the
I was definitely nervous then.
science.
I agree with you.
The company.
So let me.
and
Okay,
the
so
FDA
let me agree with
process.
you. I agree with you that those aren't too directly connected in the way that you are saying they are. And this goes to my point that you are not understanding the context of whatever clip that you heard. And I'm saying this as somebody who listens to Timcast IRL every single morning in the car, and I catch at least the first 5 minutes of most of his videos, his regular videos. So
now these days I'm not as up on Tim, but I do. His show is one of the ones that I do. It's kind of a home base for me. Like I've said before, part of the problem with Dave Smith is more has moved into that #1 spot. But I still have a lot of respect for what they do at Timcast, even though I've had a lot more experiences with like I don't like that, I don't love that, I don't love that about Tim.
So his main thing about is about the mandate itself, not the jab itself.
All right.
There's he has never come out and said anything negative about the actual jab. I don't even know if he has been jabbed. But he has always been adamantly about, I'm not a doctor. You talk to your doctor. You do what's right for you. I don't. I'm all of that. That's okay. He can't mention the jab without saying that. So that's one thing. It's about the mandate, not about the jab or the efficacy.
All right. So if you
aside from that, hold on. Aside from that, that can be true, and you can be in favor of the mandate or you can be against the mandate, while also pointing out that, hey, it sure is convenient that these guys who would make billions of dollars off of this thing happening are pushing for this thing to be happening. That makes sense, right? If I would make $1 million if you bought every piece of garbage in my house, then it would make sense that whether or not the garbage is good for you or not, that I would be pushing that garbage because I can make $1 million off it.
Econometrics major, guys. Econometrics doesn't understand that if somebody has an incentive to get money to do things, then they're probably going to do those things.
Right. So now my question is,
or at least factored in.
Is it
But wait, you just wait, you just glossed right over that. You just said right, but that was one of your points. You said it was a ridiculous thing.
Here's why that's a ridiculous statement, because
hey, shout out to Nick sharing the video. Guys, that does help so very much. It does not matter where you put it, and it doesn't even matter if you think people are going to click on the link. Just by telling YouTube, please show this to more people, they will. So thank you, sir.
Said it was a ridiculous thing.
Here's why that's a ridiculous statement, because given that Pfizer and Moderna have incentives to make sure the vaccine mandate runs through, whatever their statement should be taken with a grain of salt. Their speculation is as worthless as Tim Pool's speculation on the effectiveness of the jab. He said, go talk to your doctor. Likewise, if we're talking about policy, we should probably look at the epidemiological effects, the
experts. The experts.
These sociological effects, the health effects on a broader level, and oppose it based on that, not necessarily who the boogeyman is that is proposing this policy.
Yeah, so it's not about what you as an American citizen want. It's about the experts said, therefore.
This is a complete straw man. You're the one putting in the fact again. Do we agree that these companies have a profit incentive for this jab?
Yes.
Okay, so that's on the table. We're all agreeing that is a fact. No conclusion of whether you should get jabbed, whether there should be a mandate, whether there should be exemptions. None of those things, in Tim's eyes, is based on the thing that we all just agreed is true. So we agree that it's true, and also separate from that true thing, he has these other opinions. You are the one connecting them.
So when he says that you should be distrustful.
So again, those two opinions are that, if it's probably reasonable for you to go and get the jab. Separately from that, it's not okay to mandate it. That's the position. Shout out to Bill Bradley. Welcome to the party. Said liberals became truly authoritarian since the pandemic. Medical mandates, proponents of censorship, at one point pushing an actual ministry of truth. It was wild enough when we were living through it, but to look back, it's insane. Again, this was December of 2021. This was the height, the peak of all that bullshit
of
connecting them.
So when he says that you should be distrustful of any mandate because a company is pushing it, he's the one making that connection, is he not?
Say that again. What
if Tim Pool? Okay.
If he is saying that among all of the other reasons to be skeptical, there is a profit incentive, that is yet another reason to be skeptical.
That's it. There's a profit incentive there. That's all. Shout out to Holly. Welcome to the party. So I think they engineer these so they can sell us the cure. Nope. I will never take an experimental vax. I said shit. Me too. Well, I might, depending on, if it's Ebola and people are like, you're bleeding from the eyes, then, maybe I'll take my chances. But with this, there was just no reason to. Shout out to Arrow. Hello. Very good to see ya. Again, we are revisiting a debate from December 2021. It was interesting to say the least.
There is a profit incentive. That is yet another reason to be skeptical.
Let's see. This is exactly what I was saying before. We all know what Bill was talking about, even though those words don't necessarily, in the classical sense, make any sense. We all know exactly what just the things that he's listing.
That's why there was no big push against literally anything else that Big Pharma has done in the last 10 years. Because though we are skeptical of Big Pharma, they haven't been doing this. And at no point did Big Pharma not have that profit incentive. So that skepticism has been something that, and again, this goes back, and I brought up how I, am doing my best at all times with you, not to brush off your opinion because of your age. But
I believe he was 21 or 22 at the time of filming.
You were a child at the time when the phrase even Big Pharma and it was so closely tied with the left, and this was almost right-wing conspiracy that there was no such thing as Big Pharma. And so now for you to be in 2021 being on the left saying we should trust Big Pharma, and then looking at Tim Pool with who has had skepticism towards Big Pharma all of his life, like the rest of all of the liberals until 2015, I don't understand where there's an issue there.
I feel like this is a bit of a mischaracterization because I'm not
projection. Yes, you are mischaracterizing Tim Pool's position. Exactly. But that's not what he means.
saying that we should trust Big Pharma or that we should distrust because it's Big Pharma. The decision for vaccine mandates or the efficacy of vaccine mandates should be based where the incentives of Big Pharma are irrelevant. So we should not listen to them in a way to arouse some sort of suspicion on the efficacy of the mandate, or listen to them as the primary trusted source.
Right. That was what I said. Is that aside from the fact that
so far he's agreed with two of the things that I said that he then said were either conspiratorial or hypocritical.
Agree they have the profit incentive. No conclusions about the mandate or anything that
exactly. So if you say
because
that's
of that.
one, if you're saying one of the reasons is to be suspicious because of profit motive, that's ridiculous.
I still don't understand why. That's the third time you said that, but you haven't explained why.
So you're saying, all right, let me try to break this down as simply as I can.
I mean, we
can cover
it. See, I don't think it's a tactic. Again, I'm assuming from then as I am now that he is here in completely good faith. But he is, we talk about the difference between semantic obfuscation when people are, twisting words and meanings and stuff, versus the linguistic creep, where because other people that he's been listening to have been twisting up words and stuff, he has a wrong understanding of what they mean. And he thinks that he's like, okay, let me break it down more simple. Like you just have to break it down at all. I'm asking a question. I need the answer. You haven't given me the answer. Our said it was a pharmacy tech in the 90s. I couldn't rest my head on my pillow any longer. Had to get out of there. Why? What was, I was not a pharmacy tech in the 90s. I don't know what you're referring to. Why'd you got to get out of there?
So you're saying, all right, let me try to break this down as simply as I can.
I mean, we
can cover this up. If we make the assumption that the profit motive is somehow skewing the results or shifting the discourse, at least politically, of the vaccine mandates, then we're ascribing that Big Pharma, their political influence, is somehow a contributing factor, and because we should be distrustful of Big Pharma, wherever their political influence is, that's one thing we should be concerned about. My argument is that should be irrelevant because the things that we should be concerned about is cost efficacy and health efficacy.
Yeah, just your conscience. I can see that. I mean, I definitely get how, at least, in my lifetime since the 90s, while I wasn't working in a pharmacy or paying attention to pharmacological things, the attitudes, the social attitudes people have had to even doctors, these medicine companies, all that kind of stuff. It is not the same as it was, 30, 40 years ago.
Relevant because the things that we should be concerned about is cost efficacy and health efficacy. Focusing on like a bad,
but yet you want to shut down the entire economy. Okay,
bad guy like Big Pharma is harmful to the actual calculations that we need to make.
So are you
cost and health efficacy?
So I'm still not understanding where the issue is. Are you saying that that Big Pharma, there's no issues with corruption in like the FDA and Pfizer and all of these companies that have had been in cahoots and have had lobbyists and all of that stuff for like I said, when
I do not know what it is about this chair, but as soon as I sit down, every single time it stops working. It stops working every single time. I don't know what's going on. Shout out to Guam Tech. Welcome to the party. Shout out to the Pure Bloods. Welcome, sir. Thank you for stopping by, brother. Make sure you hit that like button on your way in, your way out. Either way, very much appreciate you. You have a good one.
Been in cahoots and have had lobbyists and all of that stuff. Or like I said, when you were in elementary school, if you were a liberal, F Big Pharma was something that you could just say and know that you would have in common with somebody else. And so for, you didn't have that, but coming up and understanding that all happened. And now this is just the first time where where Big Pharma is being pushed in front of your face. And it's something that is much clearer than, let's say, the opioid crisis, where it's not as simple. I guess to say that the efficacy of the jab is extremely high, side effects are extremely low.
Spit it out, man.
All that stuff. So this is a much clearer case for you. This isn't the only case of do we trust Big Pharma?
Exactly. Bill Bradley said, liberals decided we should trust the intelligence agencies and the pharmaceutical industry, seemingly just to own the Judds. The left forgot their anti-establishment bent in their identitarianism. Yep. And again, it was wild to see at the time, but looking back, hindsight is 2020. It is wild that this conversation even occurred. Well, not occurred, but played out like this.
And so if you're saying you're looking at this one case
I'm
and saying the skepticism here,
I'm asking you to trust the evidence and data, not Big Pharma. I never did once say you should listen to what.
Yeah, but Big Pharma is the one who are
Moderna CEO.
Yeah, but that's where the evidence is. That's where the bullshit is coming from. And
no, it's coming from clinical trials.
Yes,
the largest
paid
vaccine
by who?
to this day.
All of the trials on everything else that we aren't even allowed to mention, because they would take this stream down, are not being talked about. And
ivermectin.
They go against, quote unquote, Big Pharma. That is the science. But because it's not your science, and you are meaning the establishment, then it doesn't count.
Okay. Do you accuse me of being part of the medical establishment because I read the Lancet? I'm really confused.
No, I said you being the establishment. I mean, you're fighting on behalf of the establishment.
So would you trust a paper that comes out of the Lancet, one of the
it gets so much worse, Arrow. It gets so much worse.
largest clinical
It depends. I would have to read it. I would have to look at the methodology. I
don't just trust things because somebody said you should trust them.
I mean, probably, yeah. But I mean, so let me answer your. So I'd say probably yes. Are you saying that no matter what, if they came out with a publication, that you would follow it blindly?
I would probably look at the methodology.
Okay.
And,
so then we have.
Reviewed. So
okay. So we have a certain level of skepticism, right?
The skepticism. So I would have an ordinal order for the level of epistemology, or like the level of publication that I would trust the most.
So yes,
the most trustworthy thing is a peer-reviewed meta-analysis. Below that, there are other types of studies, but that would be the most. So in peer-reviewed meta-analysis, we found.
I understand. No, I understand how research works. That wasn't the question.
Right.
The question was I don't even know the publication you are talking about.
Bill said medicine is a social science that suffers from the replication crisis, meaning even among peer-reviewed data, 30%, give or take, cannot actually be replicated. So it isn't science. See, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. Learning something new every day. I don't even know the publication you are talking about. Lancet, whatever. You asked me if they came out with something, would I trust it? Long and short.
I could say without a shadow of a doubt.
And
wait, he said he would trust it without a shadow.
Long and short.
I could say without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. So he's just willing to, because the people in charge said it, without a shadow of a doubt, with no doubt, they are correct.
I was saying, well, it depends. And so the implication,
like a smart person
with saying, if this trusted establishment put something out, that you should trust it. And so that begs the question then, if they put something out and I had something else from a maybe lower tier source that refuted what was put out by them, would you automatically take them what they said because they're an established authority.
So I'm saying if he's going to the Lancet and say, oh, I'll trust anything from the Lancet. And so, okay, I have a smaller study, but it completely destroys what it says in the Lancet. You're just going to appeal to the higher authority? Bill said peer review just means someone else looked over your data. They did not actually set up and replicate the experiment. It just means someone checked your math, essentially. Very, very good point. When we talk about peer-reviewed studies, the kind of implication is replicating the study. The fact that this could be replicated. There's nothing here that tells us that it could not be replicated. But exactly as Bill said, that does not mean that it automatically has been replicated.
Well, then if there was a case there is conflicting literature, and I would immediately look at a meta-analysis. I would look at a meta-analysis.
There was no conflicting literature on the jab. Okay, dude.
If there was a case there is conflicting literature, and I would immediately look at a meta-analysis. I would look at a meta-analysis. I would look for some other thing that I would explain why there's a disparity between both of these studies.
Let's just say we have two single studies.
If it's in healthcare, then I do not have the education to make a strong belief on which one is accurate.
Yet, you can call someone a bioterrorist for not doing what you want them to do.
So then how does that?
I would have to find someone way more intelligent than me to figure that out.
I agree. So how does that change with the jab?
All right. Generally, because we have the consensus for the jab, the efficacy.
The consensus. There's a consensus.
Cost efficacy and healthcare efficacy of the jab.
So basically, they said it's good for people, it's good for money. Appeal to authority.
Fair enough.
We have an overwhelming scientific consensus.
Yeah. No, I'm just that wasn't a challenge question. That was just
Yeah.
So then it as I was alluding to before, the efficacy it was never up for question. The mandate is what was being questioned. And
All right,
so
let's talk about the
earlier,
mandate.
the example came up, because you used the term coercive tax, that not being jabbed, you are creating a coercive tax on the rest of society and driving
externality, but yeah.
And so but either way, you're driving up the cost of healthcare by not being jabbed.
That's his argument. That if you don't take it, then you're driving up healthcare costs.
Yes. That was what you were saying.
Objectively
And so you are saying that because of that, if you're unjabbed, you have only two options: get jabbed, or you do not have the right to work because you're driving up healthcare costs. And so my response to that was, well, obesity is a problem that has these not similar, but also has these externalities, and is far more common than what we're talking about. And so I asked you if a fat person should have their right to work taken away.
Yeah. So
and
generally,
you said,
a policy like that, I would support it if it was.
Well, wait, because you said you would say this publicly. So
yeah,
I asked.
I would support that same policy if it was NPV positive.
So
you are against, which we agreed that.
I forget, what does he mean by NPV positive? NPV. A positive net present value. There we go. It means that a project or investment is expected to be profitable. This is because he's saying as long as it's profitable. Bill said, if you don't exercise, you drive up healthcare costs. Mandate cardio. Does he not understand his own logic? No, he doesn't. So
yeah,
I
would support that same policy if it was NPV positive.
So fair enough. He's saying, all right. I mean, based on the same thing, since obesity causes those healthcare costs to go up, you should lose your job. We should force people to be healthy. That's his position. So, okay. I mean, if that's your libertarian perspective, then fine. But at least he's being consistent there. I'm gonna run and get my my other thing here. I'm dying.
That same policy if it was NPV positive.
So you are against, which we agreed that you are against the right of fat people to work.
No, I am for. This is the exact. Maybe you might have misunderstood. I am for using.
I asked you in three different ways. I asked you in three different ways, dude. This is I like. Come on, don't. If you're gonna do this, let's do this.
Wait, we can pull this up.
Yeah. I mean, I could read it to you right
You
now.
can share
I
your
asked you.
you can share the Discord from my server.
Okay, but I have it in my hand right here. I'm just
All
saying.
right, read it out.
You said, 1, the jab mandate presents a choice: get jabbed or lose your job. It's a tax, coercive, on the unjabbed. The same way higher premiums on the obese is a tax. Choice is endemic to both transactions, but so are consequences. My response: so fat people should lose their jobs? And you said, if that is successful in reducing healthcare costs and NPV positive, it's on the table. So it probably won't be cost effective, but
it's not NPV positive either. But yeah, if it were, yeah.
So what?
There's no inconsistency here.
Okay, fine. So what's the weight limit?
Again, I'm not a healthcare scientist. I don't have the exact numbers for that. I would just say that if it's NPV positive.
So just explain a little bit about NPV positive and net, well, all that stuff.
All right. So if we're making any type of decision, we're deciding if the costs outweigh the benefits outweigh the costs. Costs are incurred at front, and benefits are incurred later on.
All right. Let me just real quick.
NPV positive. So
I would just say that. All right. So if we're making the costs are incurred at front, and benefits are incurred later on. So if I were to take a policy like how much.
Me neither. I would have thought, fat phobic. That's so fat phobic. You can't do that. I don't necessarily believe that he would be in favor of that. I think the just ran upstairs and ran back down. That's it. I think his thing about using the NPV, he's basically saying, in my position, I know that it wouldn't be NPV positive, so I can use that as a shield and say, well, if it was, then I would, but it actually would be. So didn't you hear that calling people names makes their argument go from facts to lies with malicious intent behind them? Yup. Shout out to Bill. Thank you so very, very much for stopping by. Yep, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. Shout out to Matthew King in the building. Welcome to the party. So do you consider yourself a good debater? Would you be a master, perhaps? I fancy myself a master debater. Shout out to, what is that from? From Austin Powers, right? Welcome. This is a debate I did with a Socialist Libertarian December of 2021. Talking about all that jab mandate stuff.
Costs outweigh if the benefits outweigh the costs. Costs are incurred at front, and benefits are incurred later on. So if I were to take a policy like how much would it cost for me to give everyone the jab? That's a cost we pay immediately on. And then what is the savings that I get in externalities and lower healthcare costs, in lowered mortality, increased productivity? What are all the benefits that I get there? And doing the math and discounting it based on inflation or whatever we would use as a discount rate, we'd figure out, is this policy something worthwhile doing? Now, we have to also acknowledge if it's internally valid that the policy works. So for example, fat shaming is not very effective at getting people to lose weight. Often studies have shown that it makes people depressed and more likely to binge eat. And you may end up making the problem worse.
Put a 1 in the chat if you know somebody who used to be fat and is no longer fat, and they attribute it to people being honest with them about being fat and what would be considered fat shaming. Put a 1 in the chat. I said I love watching TheIndianJesus debate people because he hits them with facts, not BS. Well, I certainly try. Thank you for that. Gotta try, right? You gotta try. I do get, I get a little bit heated in this one for sure, but I try.
Which is why I'd never be in favor of fat shaming, because it doesn't work. If it worked, I'd be in favor of doing it. I would get canceled by the left immediately. Likewise, shaming people into taking the vaccine. If it works, people get the vaccine. Yay. If it doesn't work, I encourage people to not shame people to get the vaccine. At the end of the day, I care about the end result.
Not specifically, but we're talking about the coercive tax on people losing their jobs for not getting the jab, and that being okay because the analysis works out that it's better for society in his words. And so I was saying, okay, well, do you think that is the same for fat people? And he's saying yes. However, now he's kind of he said yes if it was positive, and now he's just making the argument that it's not positive. But it doesn't matter if it's the principle. It's the principle that matters. I didn't. Okay, just okay. Well, I mean, it's not going to be, it's not going to work for everybody, but I definitely know a number of people who appreciate the fact that people were honest with them, and I don't think everything about being honest is shaming, although he definitely would call that. So, guys, we are coming up on 5 minutes left with our first swole goal. We are doing things a little bit different. We're doing smaller tiers, and we're gonna try to do multiple goals. So this one is for some swole goal, and then we got some more of Morty's treats. So make sure you get those super chats in. Thank you.
Encourage people to not shame people to get the vaccine. At the end of the day, I care about the end result. If there was a magic pill that would eradicate obesity, I'm fine with government mandating the same way that we mandate the current vaccine.
I don't know why he goes straight to fat shaming and something instead of something like exercise, because it's almost a mental projection. It's a mental projection. He's projecting that I'm saying, oh, because fat people are not good on the healthcare system, that they're bad. That's not at all what I said, because again, his framework is, since you're doing this to people, you're bad. And so for me to not get jabbed, I'm bad. And therefore it's okay to shame me. And so he's just applying the same logic to fat people. I just want you to sit on that for a minute, because
I'm fine with government mandating the same way that we mandate the current vaccine.
I just want you to sit on that for a minute, because you realize the difference between and we're not talking about Rona, but just because the concept of being jabbed for the stuff we used to get jabbed for makes a lot of sense because of what it is and because of the how terrible it is. We all made that. It went through the proper legal channels, and we've all agreed to that. How is being obese at all in that same category?
What do you mean? If a person is obese, they're driving up healthcare costs for people around them. This is a well-documented phenomenon.
I understand that, but so are a lot of other things. So are people who drive recklessly. So are people who drink too much. So are people, so again, where is what is the line? What is the criteria for things that the government can force people to do or not to do because of because it's good for everybody?
I've even tweeted.
Yeah, so even though we all agree that being fat is not good, it's still not a good principle that we should force people to be healthy. He wanted to force people to get the jab because he thinks it's good. We both happen to think, being fat is bad. But I don't believe that just because you're fat that you should be forced to do this, that, or the other. I don't think that's the government's job. Hey, shout out to Nick Luchetti getting us started too with the $1.99. Thank you, sir. And of course, every donation comes with a treat for Morty. Thank you, sir. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream, Niklaus the Legend. That's what they call him. Thank you. Very, very much, sir.
Not to do because of because it's good for everybody.
I've even tweeted this to you. One, it has to be constitutionally acceptable. And two, it has to be net present.
Since when is forcing medical procedures constitutionally?
Very constitutional, actually. I was looking into this. Sturtevant v. White in 2011 found by the Supreme Court that vaccine mandates are constitutional. Even Justice Antonin Scalia defended that. And vaccine mandates have been constitutional since 1905. We have I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so take this with a grain of salt, but it seems like we have very strong literature on precedent that states, yeah, vaccine mandates are constitutional. So given that it's constitutional and it's incredibly beneficial in net present value, it's a no-brainer.
Is it though? Nah.
So let me just pivot a little bit and maybe look at this in a different view, because where I'm coming from is obviously a liberty-minded individual that regardless of what is good for the guy down the street, I am an American. I am a human being. If I want to get as fat as fuck, if I want to sit here and do heroin or whatever,
it's America, Jack. All right, so that is our goal number 1. We did not make it, so we'll try another one, and we'll keep it raging.
Want to get as fat as fuck, if I want to sit here and do heroin or whatever, then the government works for me. They don't have the right to come and tell me to do any of that. And so how do you propose that this, which clearly is not you can see that the protest all over. So even if it was gone through the proper legal channels, which it hasn't, then I'm just lost as to where the liberty of all this falls into this. Like,
wait, even now under the vaccine mandates, you have the liberty not to take the vaccine. I mean, you can lose your
but that's
job
not
and have a lot of
okay.
other
But
issues.
that's not really a choice. You obviously need a living.
Well, yeah, that's why I said that it's coercive. But I am fine with.
And so he's totally fine with that. Again, guys, we do got our new Swole goal up there. Hit it. Thank you so much.
Need a living.
Well, yeah, that's why I said that it's coercive. But I am fine with using.
That's not. So that's what I'm asking you. That's what I'm asking you about. Why don't you? So let's use that. Why don't you have an issue with the government being coercive with a medical procedure?
Being generally speaking, the cost of having an overburdened healthcare system is,
according to
excess mortality.
The science.
1, that's an issue. 2 is that given that we have limited healthcare resources, I want to avoid healthcare triaging. So the protection of human life outweighs the minor inconvenience of getting 2 jabs and maybe a third booster.
Well, it's funny because I was just about to say he's a straight utilitarian, and this Mr. L, now it's 4.
I haven't heard of.
Oh yes, I remember this.
Maybe a third inconvenience of getting 2 jabs and maybe a third booster.
Well, now it's 4.
I haven't heard of a 4th one being approved yet.
Look at your passport. How many lines are there?
I haven't seen my vaccine card in ages. I live in Texas. I haven't needed to pull it out for anything.
And now people are on like their 6th, 7th, 8th jab. I mean, are people still getting boosters on this? I don't even know. Liberty Plus said, we have limited healthcare resources. No, you don't have shit.
There's 4 lines.
All right. I'm scheduled to take the
Fauci
third
has
jab
just
on Friday.
Yeah, well, that's not going to be your last. Fauci just came out saying that Omicron is going to need a 3-shot inoculation. So that's another 3 to schedule in.
All right. If it's as easy to get as the previous doses and
if it's as easy to poison yourself, then whatever.
Previous jabs, I'm fine with it. Let's do it.
No it's just 15 days, right? It's just it's just a mask, right? It's just 1 shot. It's just I'm alarmed at your lack of concern for just giving this power to the government. That's what that's where I'm coming from, and you don't seem to be contending with that. You seem to just be fine.
So that whole time I'm trying to like bring up, hey, what about liberty? What about liberty? What about any of that? He's like, well, the numbers are calculated. Calculus is calculated. That's it. That's your argument. Like I said, wow, forcing people into a vax is constitutional. I mean, apparently, but I wish I had, because when I said that, I was thinking about specifically this this vaccine. And obviously they do mandate vaccines for schools and stuff. So I wasn't as quick on it. By the time he said it and he moved on, I didn't have anything. But technically, yes, a vaccine mandate in general for certain things isn't unconstitutional, but certainly the way this the COVID one was rolled out was unconstitutional. King said, I agree. I like people that have to pay less in health insurance, but it can't be the only factor to look at.
Bingo.
Exactly. Arrow said, I chose not to receive the root beer float. My dad did and got an AFib for his obedience. Yikes. Yikes. But we should force it. We should force it on people. Because of the numbers and the statistics.
Or of the Constitution gives the government the right to tax and spend. Anytime the government pushes a policy like a vaccine mandate, it's a tax. If you can afford that tax, that's
Oh, look, we got a hungry dance. We got a hungry
great.
dance.
If I can afford to not work, then the vaccine mandate is irrelevant to me. I can do whatever.
Privilege a little bit harder, brother. Privilege a little bit harder.
There's a policy like a vaccine mandate, it's a tax. If you can afford the tax, that's great. If I can afford to not work, then the vaccine mandate is irrelevant to me. I can do whatever.
Right. But most people can't afford not to work, which is the entire fucking point.
Okay.
Right? It's a tax.
But who is the majority of people who are unjabbed are lower class.
Exactly.
And
Most
people of
people
color.
cannot afford the tax, so they will
Okay.
do the government.
So you're,
policy.
but you now want to make all of those.
So again, he's not mincing words. He's like, oh yes, I think this is the right thing to do. It doesn't matter what other people think or want or feel is good for them and their family. I want them to do this, and I'm okay with the government taking away their right to make a living.
Lower class people of color unemployed and not have the chance for
Oh,
employment.
I don't want to make them unemployed. I want to make them vaccinated. If threatening them with being unemployed is what's going to get them vaccinated, I really wish it didn't come to this position, but it has.
But you don't want to fat shame.
Haram!
I wish we didn't have to force you to do things, but we do.
Do it all! Nah.
Fat shaming, no way. But forcing
Well,
people
because
to
it
get the
doesn't work.
jab.
If fat shaming worked, I'd do it.
Exactly. Force poor people to do what the government says because they're poor.
Haram!
That's America, Jack.
It doesn't work.
Shaming.
And then we wonder why people are anti-establishment. We wonder why so many people have been like, all right, I mean, maybe I don't love Trump, but like, this is too much. It's obvious. I said, is his position economic or something? Because I missed the intro. So we didn't really give an intro. He's just, again, the libertarian socialist who believes these things. And I think this was all sparked by my saying that I like Tim Pool and Anna Rude saying that if you like Tim Pool, you're crazy or stupid. That's the long and short of it. And then we got down into the weeds of the mandate. Oh yeah, because he was saying that Tim is against the science, and it's like, no, Tim is against the mandate.
Everybody who used to be fat that I ever know, and obviously anecdotal, but everybody who I ever know, anybody I know who's been fat, who no longer is fat, has attributed fat shaming, and it said something along the lines of "Thank you for not letting me continue this way." Along with
Fat
a
shaming is worked
myriad,
on
a
me. I
myriad,
used to be
a
obese.
myriad of high-profile celebrities, influencers, and so
That's true. I was telling him mine his own wallet, not mine. Well, his argument would be that, well, it's all of our wallets because we all pay taxes for this stuff. So if you are raising healthcare costs, then it is my wallet. That's what he would say. That's what he would say. Holly said, I got COVID twice and made it through just fine like any other flu. And I refuse the vax. That said, this year, everyone at my work got it except me, the natural immunity. Pure bloods. Pure bloods do it better. Pure bloods do it better.
a myriad of high-profile celebrities, influencers, and so statistically, maybe it doesn't
It
work.
does not work.
Oh,
It
it doesn't work
statistically, it
for
does not
everyone.
work.
No, okay, but
It doesn't work for most people.
Okay, exactly, but this is what my point. This is precisely the point with all of that stuff, is that to those what let's say it's just 100,000 people in the history of the universe who have gotten healthy because they were fat shamed.
Mm-hmm.
To those 100,000 people, the statistics are irrelevant because the method worked.
See, I
And
don't
so
see
to
the
say
100,000
to say it is not an effective.
There we go. Shout out to somebody who helped build the server. This Dustin guy, you may know him as Semper. You may not know him at all. But he said, one time the Marines told me I'm too fat to join. So I lost weight and I joined. Simple as that. Simple as that. Oh, I want to grab this from Guantek. Said, what's scary is that he probably believes he'd be a good one, a good leader, and doesn't realize why. Dude needs to live in China so he can live what he preaches. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Guaranteed he'd be one of the first to complain about the unreasonable tyranny. The same exact thing he's fighting for right here. Now, you said if the vax would have worked, they would not have needed a mandate.
Bingo.
Almost like liberty and trusting people to make decisions for themselves. You know, my body, my choice. And I don't think I even brought that up in this discussion, which is again how I could not bring that up is just stupid. But maybe I don't remember.
See, I
And so
don't
to
see the
say
100,000
hold
people.
on, to say it is not an effective method is only true in one sense of the word effective, and we're talking statistically. And so anecdotally, it absolutely does work. And so for those people who are now in a healthier place and are a healthier weight, for you to say that fat shaming doesn't work is just incorrect. You're not letting them express their truth, bro.
No. Fat shaming is not a reliable method.
That's a different thing.
No. So when
That's
I say
a
that it
different
works,
claim.
okay, let me amend this because it's a language issue on my part. When I say works, I'm talking about from the perspective of government policy. So for something to work as in terms of government policy, it has to be reliable. So not like an interpersonal level, but on a broader national
Right.
level.
Okay. And then
So I'll amend my statement there. It has to be effective.
Okay, so the point is though that you know the unjab shaming is pretty strong out there, and so
Oh yeah, definitely. I
right
don't
and good.
know if
So
it is very effective or counterproductive. If it came out that that shaming the unjabbed is making them more hesitant to get jabbed, I would immediately stop doing it, and I encourage everyone to stop doing it.
I literally was somebody who was planning on getting it. And then when just like Mr. Elegant is saying, the harder you push, the more resistance you'll garner. And maybe that is not the most logical thing. But I reserve the right as an American to not always do everything in the most rational way. And if I am fearful, legitimately fearful of something going into my body, then I have the right to say no, thank you. End of story. Apparently not, though.
that was like last month's news, dude. That's I mean
I
personally,
haven't seen a strong study on it.
again, we're not talking. That's we're in that different realm. We're talking about individuals on an individual case. Why are individual people not taking this jab? And so yes, there is a collection of a collection of individuals, but each one of those is their own case.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you have your entire life in a book and you don't have any life experience and you know certain things really well. And like I said, he is well read in the stuff that he knows, but because that's all he knows, he thinks he knows. It's Dunning-Kruger. He thinks he knows everything about everything, and he just doesn't. This is so similar to the conversations I would have with our good friend David. It's just like the numbers. Life is more than just numbers. Do we want to trust science? Of course. Do we know that science is the best process, not consensus, but the best process that we have for understanding the universe? Absolutely. But that doesn't supersede liberty. King said, vegans have made me want to eat meat. That happens. Gonzaga, so when it's proven that people get angry about being told what to do, then I'll stop doing it. That's his position. I mean, I was genuinely nervous as to looking stupid here because I as you guys could tell, I'm not as confident in myself in general, but I'm also not very confident in the discussion. I was confident in my own position and my own feelings, but you know, there was a lot of pushback against what we were believing. So yeah, I don't know if it's poker face or if it's just like, oh, please don't make me look stupid. But Matthew King said I got poked pretty early on because I was an essential employee, as was I. But I said, fuck all that shit. My company was paying people to get it, and we didn't need masks anymore. I regret getting it now. And that wasn't even the coercive version. That was, we will give you extra, and you regret it. Imagine being somebody who, against their will, felt like, oh, I have to do this. And here we are 4 years later. Didn't need it.
Collection of a collection of individuals, but each one of those is their own case. And so in the case of me, when this all started, I was just like, I mean, yeah, I'm not really worried about it when they,
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Even though every person I treat that way gets angry, I won't believe it's justified unless the majority of people get angry over the same thing. I will follow the will of the sheeple. That's really the argument here. And again, I would like to, or I tried very hard to keep it away from, oh, you're just young, oh, you're stuff like that, because I didn't want to hinge on that and be like, oh, well, you're just a kid, you don't know any better. That's not an argument. Even if that is the case, it's still my responsibility to articulate why he's incorrect. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, I say that to say that it's not just the young people. It's not just young people who don't know shit. You have the Democrats of any age. This is the way they think. Obviously, the first time it was bad, but the second time, by day 2, I felt fine. There you go. It's almost like our bodies are made to be able to have some immunity to things. Like there's a system, like an immune system or something.
they'll come out with a jab, and then we'll be able to go back to normal life. When it comes out, then I'll just wait until it becomes an inconvenience, and then I'll go get it.
That 1000% honesty. That was my position when all this started.
Then all of this stuff started coming out, and Fauci was saying one thing, and then things were changing, and then the rules were different in different places, and the numbers didn't match the things, and the elites were not wearing masks, and all of this started happening, and then all of the jab.
Why is that funny? What was funny about what I just said?
Propaganda started, and now I'm freaked the fuck out. I don't know what to think, what to believe, and until I can see why, it has nothing to do with the trusted science behind the jab itself, because it has to do with the lie that is being propagated.
All right. Well, shout out to Dessa for bringing up My Body, My Choice. I don't remember if we got back to this, but I would have. I'm hoping we do, because I want to hear what it says.
So until I understand what that lie is and where it's coming from, then I'm not going to participate in something that is part of that. I don't know what the relevance is. I don't know. And so I've been fine the whole time. So,
and still 3 years later and fine. Go on, text. These people need a daddy and a mommy in everything they do. Politicians, corporations, academia, culture, statistics, and their parents. And since they are perpetual children, have to do what they're told.
Bingo.
Exactly. I said, stand 6 feet away from me when you're making sense. That's a good one. That's a good one. And as always, guys, yeah, if I know the audio, like his audio is a little bit quieter. If you want me to turn this down a little bit so that it evens out, just let me know.
I don't know what the relevance is. I don't know. And so I've been fine the whole time. So as an individual person, that is completely logical to me to not figuratively and literally inject something into my life that I don't trust or that I have reason to distrust.
I find this very ironic because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you do vape, right?
Nope.
All right. Yeah. So I figured, if you were to put other substances in your body, the issue is that the hesitance.
I would choose to. I would choose to. Those are different things.
I do harder drugs than vaping, if that's where you're going.
All right. Yeah. Because people will put stuff into their body.
Right. People will put stuff into their body, not have it injected at the risk of losing their jobs.
That's
I've done
way
heroin
worse than
before.
this vaccine.
I've done heroin before. But nobody was forcing me to do it. And so again, we come back to the choice. So if I would also be against a heroin mandate. Just so we're clear on that.
Well, I know it's a real controversial opinion, but yes, guys, I am against mandating that you take heroin. Well, except by the way, the new Jimmy Dore comedy special, COVID Lies Are Funny, was amazing. Highly recommended the watch. Interesting. Maybe we'll do that as a members only type deal and watch that together. Very cool.
Just saying, I would also be against a heroin mandate. Just so we're clear on that.
Well, I would be against a heroin mandate too. It
Okay,
doesn't
but
seem like it benefits anyone in any way.
that doesn't matter. That is my point. It doesn't matter. The government doesn't have the right to mandate these things. And you have your case that you cited from the 1920s. I peripherally know about it.
1905 and 2011. There are two cases.
Well, I'm not sure about the 2011 one. Why don't you? What happened in 2011?
Yeah. So I remember I forgot the name of it. What's this called? Not the dissent, the affirmation. I forgot what that was called. It was written by Justice Antonin Scalia. He basically stated that the government has a right to mandate 100% inoculation. Like, let me see if I can pull up that quote.
Because my point is that I know in the one from the turn of the century, it was
So that's another thing that I feel like I've gotten a lot better at is I had a point in my mind that I was trying to get to. And in my mind, I was like, okay, well, ask this question and he'll say that. And then I could lead to that question, that question, and that question, and that question. I've gotten better at realizing, oh, conversations, especially debates, typically don't really work that way. And you can see that, I'm trying to work the angles instead of just saying the thing. Just say the thing. Arrow said UK was serious with circles spray painted in the grass at the park, like some retarded ring around the rosy game with actual children. Yep. I mean, again, I can't say it enough. I can't say it enough, but just like thinking back to the reality, we actually lived through that. Insane.
The which I still don't agree with. But as far as I understand it, it was either get the whichever jab it was, or pay a $500 fine, which would be which would be closer to like $5,000 today. And
more than that.
I again, that's immaterial. So yeah, we were talking about a ruling where it was reasonable to, I think, charge $500 for to not get a vaccine. Context that maybe a good question for him would be if the government mandated that you could only eat McDonald's for a year because you don't know what's best for you, would you do it? I don't know. I think that one's a little too outside of the lines because it's not. Because these people can't understand hypotheticals. So I think he would just say, well, it's not NPV positive. It would have to be something along the lines of like you can't eat meat or something that could somehow reasonably be considered a utilitarian positive. But I don't know. Yeah, because that's what he was talking about is the cost efficiency and health efficiency. And so that wouldn't be health efficient. So he would just say no, because it's not health efficient. Not because the government said so, but because it doesn't work. King Nirvana said it could have been fine if he would have just answered the question instead of bringing up a book he can't remember. Well, that's all they know. He doesn't have any thoughts of his own. Point being, you can either do what we say or pay a fine. While that's still completely against my values, and I would probably not pay that fine, and I would, again, specifically talking about injecting your body with something, probably go to jail over not paying that fine, because I'm a principled individual and I can't be peer pressured into changing my principles. The fact is that is very different, even though that's already outside of what I'm comfortable with. That's very different than now saying, do this or you don't have a right to society and making a livelihood. And you're just totally cool with that. Mm-hmm. People who are already down and out.
I mean, if you're unable to pay the fine and you end up going to jail, then you are already excluded from society. For the incredibly poor, I don't really see a difference between both those scenarios.
I heard that wrong, right? He didn't just say there's not a big difference between being poor and being in prison. He didn't or being in jail. He didn't say that, right? There's no way he just said that.
I mean, if you're
Cool with that. People who are
I-
already down and out.
I mean, if
Because again, we're talking about the overwhelming, or not, maybe not the overwhelming, but the majority of people who were not jabbed at that time were poorer people. And so the notion of using the inability to work as a motivating factor wasn't really a choice, because these people, as he said earlier, well, if you can afford it, then it doesn't really matter. Okay, but if you can afford it and it doesn't really matter, then it doesn't really apply to you. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about the people who can afford to not work.
you're unable to pay the fine and you end up going to,
I want to hear it.
Who are already down and out.
I mean, if you're unable to pay the fine and you end up going to jail,
Okay, if you're unable to pay the fine and you end up going to jail,
then you are already excluded from society. For the incredibly poor, I don't really see a difference between both those scenarios.
I think that's what he said. I think that's what he said. If you're already poor, you're outside of society.
For the pay the fine and you end up going to jail, then you are
If you're unable to pay, you end up going to jail. Then you're already, not already, but yeah, you're taken out of society by being arrested. But the point is that you shouldn't be arrested.
already excluded from society. For the incredibly poor, I don't really see a difference between both those scenarios.
Do you guys have a different interpretation of that? Nixon is a perfect example of a talking head. Yep. The banality of evil. You can see it right there. Right there. And I mean, again, I really believe that, he's not playing games, that he's not, trying to win anything. I think he's just honestly having this conversation and honestly believes these things.
For the incredibly poor, I don't really see a difference between both those scenarios.
Oh, hell
You don't-
no.
I-
What?
Lay that on me one more time, because it sounds like you just said if you're poor, it doesn't make a big difference if you can't pay or if you go to jail.
No. So
I want to give you the
No, let me rephrase.
Before he clears that up, I'm saying, okay, maybe if the government mandated that you couldn't use your car because of cost cutting and the environment affects all of us, and only poor people would have the most problem with it. Yeah, I could see him being in favor of that. I could see him being in favor of that and be like, well, if there's the bus, we should use public transportation. That's actually good for people and they don't even know it. I bet. Okay, it's not just me. It's not just me. But he's going to clear it up. He's going to rephrase. Let's see what he's got.
Is that
Look at that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro.
there doesn't seem to be much of a distinction if you get jailed for not being able to pay the fine versus being pushed away from certain public rights because you refuse
I
to
agree.
take
They're
the-
Okay, so he is saying that. He's not really that much different if you can't work versus if you're in jail. So he is saying that.
both
Yeah.
wrong, but one's more extreme.
Yeah,
I
would-
agree. There's not that much of a difference. That's why they're both wrong. That's my point.
I generally think that jailing people to get them vaccinated is not going to be a very effective way of getting more people vaccinated. So I'm against that. But here's the issue with principles. Principles are pretty.
So what is Mr. Ellis saying? The argument of vax choice and mandate is one on several levels. On the surface, it's an individualism versus common good argument. But on the political level, it's rights versus authority. Exactly.
Rational when it comes to resource allocation. Because unfortunately, this is the fundamental myth, this fundamental truth of economics. We have infinite needs and limited resources. If we're trying to allocate resources, especially healthcare resources, we're going to have to try to reduce healthcare costs. The vaccine mandates are effective ways to do that. Not reducing those healthcare costs means we have to triage and deny healthcare for other people, which is going to create excess mortality somewhere else.
And again, his position, I don't disagree with his analysis there. But he thinks because that is the case, it's okay to trample on people's rights. No.
So we're going to make that trade-off either way. We're protecting more people's right to life by making sure that fewer people are hospitalized due to COVID. It's from a ethical standpoint of maximizing human life and
No, I
human freedom.
understand what utilitarianism is. Like I'm
Yeah.
down with that. That was Hitler's thing. We get rid of all the bad ones and then we'll have an iron race.
Hitler was not a utilitarian.
I just had to throw that jab in there. No pun intended. No, obviously I'm joking about that. But
Here's because the issue is we're always going to have trade-offs between rights. So we have to quantify how much is each right worth, and let's
agree with
maximize
you.
those rights.
Okay, so the right to not inject things that you don't want into your body is more important than the right to control other people that might increase your healthcare costs.
So I agree with you. And so when it comes to an illness with a 99 point,
Was that me, or did the volume just jump for you guys? I'm gonna give it a second in case that just happened to you. I don't know. That sounded weird for me.
comes to an illness with a 99.99% survival rate of anybody below the age of 60 or 65 with no comorbidities, then
Mhm.
trading off your right to live in society and make a living doesn't seem like a fair trade-off.
Yeah, but we're not just worried about mortality, we're also worried about hospitalization. There were, I think, in 2021 so far, there were
Thank you, God.
526
I just don't. That's not.
individuals who were hospitalized.
I don't care.
Due to
I don't care because
corona.
I don't care because again, there's a million and one other things that drive up healthcare costs that we don't legislate and treat this way.
It's just with this one thing. Shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome to the party. Going over this debate from 2021 with this dude, Anirudh, who thinks it's totally okay that the government takes away your rights and that being poor and being in jail aren't really all that different. Welcome to the party.
Things that drive up healthcare costs that we don't legislate and treat this way. We don't say, again, bringing it back to being fat. We don't say if you have a BMI of a certain level that you don't get to have a job and you don't get to be part of society. You don't get to go into restaurants. You can only go to the gym until you're below the threshold of what we find acceptable, so that you're not causing the havoc on the rest of society, and then you can be part of it.
There you go, Lutch. Now you're cooking. Say it with your chest. Arrow said, does he know he's a mouthpiece for the people who own a good deal of this country? Dude, shut the fuck up. I don't think he knows that. I don't think he does. Because I haven't talked to him really since back then. But he seemed like a good dude. He seemed like he wanted to do good in the world and just Dunning-Krugered himself into thinking that everybody who doesn't agree with him is wrong. We've all been there. We may not have been as adamant about our positions. We may not have been as smug. I may have been. I don't know. But I'm not going to hold that too far against him. But the fact of the matter is, you're just wrong. Context said, it seems the obesity argument is the best to apply to this debate. I think I would have preferred if I had spent more time on My Body, My Choice. Because once he says, I'm okay with forcing fat people not to work. That's all right, if that's what you believe, okay. But that's what he said. He was totally fine with forcing people to not be able to work until you're a certain weight. Given the NPV positive. Arrow said the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and the health industry. His favorites, or our favorites, right? We love them.
You're not causing the havoc on the rest of society, and then you can be part of it. Otherwise,
believe me, if there was a way
we don't use people with bad driving records and say until you can XYZ and get rid of your points. We allow people with points on their who have shown that they have moving violations to get right back behind the wheel and drive. We allow people who have been in DUI accidents eventually to get back behind the wheel and drive.
Yeah, we usually have them go through.
But being unjabbed,
that's the worst thing ever.
Is way worse than all of that.
No, it's just very cost effective to do this. We have no magic pill that gets rid of obesity. We have a magical.
Shout out to Ozempic.
Very cost effective to do this. We have no magic pill that gets rid of obesity. We have a magical shot that turns someone from vax to unvax.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Arrow, if you're out there, please come talk to us. Now that there is essentially a magic pill that gets rid of obesity, why would we not mandate Ozempic? Why would we not mandate Ozempic for anybody who's over whatever BMI or whatever thing? Because he just said if there was, I'd be totally down for it. Crazy. Glumtex said, "My body, my choice is good too, but obesity had the most similarities to the health argument." Yeah, I mean they're both good arguments because he has a stupid position. But yeah, I think I could have. I because I'm pretty sure he would be pro-abortion, and so it would the obesity might fit better. But because he's okay with mandating Ozempic, then his principles don't allow me to make the argument that that's bad. Like, okay, I think it's bad that you want to mandate the vaccines. I also think it's bad that you want to mandate Ozempic. Whereas I think he would be, I don't think he would be okay with, some type of restrictive laws on abortion. Seems like a Zimbo, a zombie and a bimbo. Dilly to that. I am stealing that. This fucking Zimbo. Good one. Yep.
Well, shot that turns someone from vax to unvax. It all comes down to costs. It's very cost effective to do this program. It's not very cost effective to shame.
Have you guys ever? That was from that, not him right now. Put a one in the chat if that's the first time you ever heard Morty bark.
Cost effective to do this program. It's not very cost effective to shame people so that they are no longer fat, or to force people to lose weight to maintain a certain BMI. We just don't have a cost effective method of doing that. We do have that for the vaccine.
Exactly, Dylan. Shut up and drink the government juice. Why? Because they said so. How do you know? Because they're the experts and they said so. Oh, okay. That's how he approaches the world.
Magical pill, we'd be doing that.
And so many others.
We do have that for the vaccine. If there was a magical pill, we'd be doing that same thing with obesity.
Not correct, sir. Ozempic has been on the market for quite a bit. In fact, let's just for my own edification, when did Ozempic come out? December 2017. December 2017. Before the discussion we're having even happened. So in fact, we did have a magic drug to get rid of obesity. What I would have given to know about Ozempic at that moment. Because then obviously I would have been able to get him to say, yes, we should mandate Ozempic. Or, that his positions are untenable. What a shame. I know you're hungry, bros. I know. All right.
We would be doing
Oh, sorry.
If there was a magical pill, we'd be doing that same thing with obesity. We would be doing.
I don't disagree that people could take that magical pill. I am just against the part where you want the government to mandate it. That's really the long and short of it. And we have some cool comments here. So I know you got to go soon. So why don't we read out some of these?
Yeah, obesity is way more of a cost than COVID ever has or will. Just didn't know that Ozempic already existed.
Yeah, so Mr. L, thank you for joining us. So Mr. L says, the argument of vax choice and mandate is one on several levels. On the surface, it is an individualism versus common good argument. That's what we were talking about before the stream, actually. But on the political level, it's a rights versus authority argument. And he goes on to say, the problem with allowing the federal government to enforce mandates is the slippery slope. Give them the authority to do X for this reason, and they'll do it again for another reason in the future. As my good friend, well, not my good friend, but someone I admire very much, Dave Smith, and actually, I don't know if it was Dave Smith or Michael Malice. There's nothing so permanent as a temporary government restriction.
Yeah, so I've never believed the slippery slope argument because we have a pretty hard stop in that it's whatever's constitutionally.
We were living at the bottom of the slippery slope. What do you mean?
Acceptable. So it ends there. Now,
but we're already down that slope at what is constitutionally acceptable, what individuals don't accept, but it is accepted by the Constitution. So we're already there. And again, Mr. L, a good example was what happened post 9/11. They used the authority to spy on suspected quote unquote terrorists, and
Like me.
then
We're getting close.
I mean,
We're getting
you know,
close.
the whole NSA was born out of that. No, yeah, Watergate is that's perfectly on point.
Yeah, my good friend, me and my buddy.
And it's never defined because they can, you know, this goes to you know, another larger point which we won't be able to get into, but the idea of changing language and now to be an
Semantic obfuscation. See, I had these ideas floating around. Didn't have all the terminology yet, but you know, it's a process.
jabber means to be against mandates, and so an anti-jabber means to be against mandates, and so that used to be
Or the other way around, be anti-mandates being anti-jab.
no, literally well, I mean, we've said it enough times, but they changed the definition of anti-vaxxer to include anybody who is against the actual jabs or the legislation.
I mean, it depends. If the
And you have
reason that
no
a
issue with
person-
that. This is
I don't necessarily
the
have a
issue.
reason to be
I
angry with
because
it.
you haven't. This is the stuff that you don't see when you have been living a certain way, and you are adhering to certain social norms, and then someone on high comes and changes it, and now puts you as a second class citizen. When you have been a moral, all of this, all that good stuff all the way along, and now it's been decided from on high that you are a second class citizen, and everybody else gets to agree with that and treat you as such. This is what we're
Okay.
talking about.
But going from second class back to first class is getting 2 jabs.
I'm not going to do that. That's the point.
Well, so then you have now you're choosing to be the second class citizen, right?
Only because you're the one making my choices second class. What if I said
Yep.
everybody who has a guitar hanging on their wall is second class citizen? Well,
He has one in the other where you can't see.
you're choosing to be a second class citizen.
Yeah.
That's
and
this is what I mean about changing the words matter. And so when you change the what things mean, then you can twist things any way you want, and you can make me into some dirty heathen of a scumbag of the bottom barrel of society if you just change the words that actually describe me into something that is bad.
Semantic obfuscation. And that leads to linguistic creep. We are seeing it in real time. Nick said, we've had cocaine and meth for a lot longer. So what's the excuse for saying fat? That's a good point. Other than I can't afford drugs. I mean, I think Ozempic would be more expensive, but either way. No, smart ass, but would you like me any other way? Not at all. I like it just the way you are. Context and Jules might have something to say about being second-class citizens. Well, they should just, choose to not be Jewish then.
If you just change the words that actually describe me into something that is bad. That's how language works.
again, is that
There we go.
do I see that as intrinsically wrong? No.
So, and that's it. Just, I mean,
So again, he's not lying here and trying to pretend that he is a good guy. He literally just believes these terrible, horrible, authoritarian, fascist ideas and thinks that somehow he's a libertarian.
I don't see how you can say that
I'm
changing
driven by end
words,
results.
to achieve a semantic point is.
Well, he said specifically because of the fact that jab shaming includes not letting you work or not letting you, make a living. That's why it works. So theoretically, if we were to say you can't work if you're this fat, you have to be under a certain weight. He already said he would be okay with that. He would be okay with that. And again, Ozempic already existed at the time. I just didn't know about it. Oh, yeah. He calls himself a socialist libertarian. That was our early poll. Is that even possible? And what did you guys say? Did I miss it? Where is it? And see, somewhere. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? And 75% of you said no. Force. Got it. Yep. You got it. That's the long and short of it. I said, when weed was legalized, I still was all paranoid buying it for my dad and put it in the trunk. I remember those days. Yep. That comes from, even still to this day, if there's a cop behind me, even though I know there's absolutely nothing in my car that could be considered illegal, I'm not, racing all over, I'm not speeding, and I still get freaked out when there's a cop behind me because for so many years, a cop being behind me while I was in the car could mean, dramatically the end of my life, not the end of, my actual life, but, the end of the way that I lived. And that's how our brains work. Nick said, you warmed my heart and had me a flashback all in one breath. Well, all right. Relax there, buddy. Just kidding. Love ya. Someone said, what the actual fuck? I think he may have mixed up the liber with that authority. Pretty much. I think he does get into that specifically.
To achieve a semantic point is in good faith. That's not how people communicate. That defeats the purpose of words.
So we redefined what. So legally, it used to be a long time ago that only certain acts were considered sexual assault. SA. We've broadened that definition. So
you say sexual assault. SA. Thanks.
So that we could better go after predators.
And then
before, molestation was not considered sexual assault. We've broadened that definition.
Come on, guy. Out of yourself a little bit. So they changed it, right?
Yeah.
We're on YouTube. I'm just trying not to get pulled down.
Okay. Yeah.
So they changed SA.
They changed Mo to SA as a category of SA so that they could better go after individuals who.
Guys, again, remember that, would my channel of, I don't know how many subscribers I had, maybe a couple hundred at the time, would my channel have been taken down if we were talking about, SA or any of those things? Probably not. But the exact same fear of the establishment that to get your channel taken down was the exact same fear of the actual jab. And so he has the privilege of thinking that because it aligns with him, that there's no downside. It's like female solipsism. Well, it's good for me, so it must be good for everybody.
Loser.
To SA as a category of SA so that they could better go after individuals who were harming the kitties.
Okay, and so you see that in the same vein as changing a very specific term to mean a very specific thing, to just lump in people who are not in that category, but you politically want them to be associated.
I
do you
don't
see that as the same thing?
Bad.
I'm asking you a question. Do you see that as the same thing, or is it a reasonable update to language that we now include Mo under the SA?
I can't do it.
So again, the specific question is that, well, words change all the time, and we change that all the time. And so I'm trying to establish that, adding in molestation under the SA category makes sense. Putting somebody who doesn't like a mandate into an anti-vaxxer category doesn't make sense.
Do it just analytically. I would need to look at the data.
It's no data. It's a question of what you think. Do you think?
What do you think? I need to look at the data.
Stupid.
Shout out to Equality and Difference because vagina over on Rumble. Welcome. Is it my body, my choice? Well, except for the vaccine, because principles. That's about the strength of his argument. Welcome. It's
no data. It's a question of what you think. Do you think adding Mo under the category of SA is
it's been very effective at catching predators.
Right. Okay. So that is a positive. Language is always changing. That is a positive, organic, and functional change.
It's not organic. That was something we legislated. Legal language is something that
right, but it came up because of we're like, hey, there's this thing that's Mo, and it's not in the SA laws.
Again, Mo being molestation and SA being SA.
So we figured out organically, okay, we need to go and through the proper channels and do this. Yes, but I'm not saying like it just came out of nowhere. I'm saying
I'm confused. I'm saying between organic and inorganic in this case.
So one makes sense because we update the language because it applies to the reality that's already there. and one is changing the language to try to make the reality apply to the language. When you add molestation under the SA, that updates the language to map accurately onto the world. When you start calling people anti-vaxxers who are against a mandate and may themselves be vaccinated, that is not organic because that doesn't apply to reality. You're trying to reverse engineer it.
Where I'm
So
saying
I'm confused
not-
with the
I'm
distinction
saying-
between organic and inorganic in this case.
So inorganic would be exactly what I'm talking about, where the definition of a jab and the definition of a mandate at no point were being confused. At no point was anybody being helped by the fact that they're being lumped together. But for political purposes, they were lumped together, even though by any other means, being anti-jab and being anti-mandate are two very, very different things. I would say most people who are anti-mandate are probably jabbed, but we have a pop.
Exactly. So how is it organic and appropriate for somebody to have been vaccinated and call them an anti-vaxxer?
What?
That don't make no sense. I think we can see a very clear difference between changing that language and then adding molestation under what we consider sexual assault legally. Those are not analogous situations.
Are probably jabbed, but we have a population of jabbed anti-jabbers because somebody wanted to change the words so that they could get their political message across. That is simply not analogous to widening the SA umbrella. That they are just completely different things. And if you can't, I mean, I don't know how else to break that down.
I mean, would you consider someone who refuses to jab their children but they themselves are jabbed and anti-jabber?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. But
I would. So see, we already have.
So what he's asking again, if you got vaccinated and you didn't want your kids to get it, he's okay calling you an anti-vaxxer. Maybe we just followed the science and realized that 0 kids without comorbidities even really got sick and didn't die from this. And so it's a logical position. You're not anti anything. You're just looking at the facts and behaving appropriately. What is anti anything about that? You got the thing. How can you be anti the thing if you literally inserted it into your body? Quality said the whole anti-vax thing is simply a smear against prudent people. It's meant to shut down criticism. Exactly. But Mr. Smarty Pants over here, who knows everything about everything and is having such a hard time breaking down things for me, can't understand that.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. But
I would. Cool. So see, we already have disagreement.
So
there's already confusion of what an anti-jabber is.
Right. Because they changed the word.
There's always going to be that confusion with words.
Anirudh, this is what I'm telling you. That is the point.
Bingo.
That is what they want. They want the confusion to be there. This is the very conversation that they want. Everybody who is
Who's they? Fauci
is pushing this agenda. Everyone, I don't know who they are. Do you want names? I don't know. Otherwise, they probably would be not in the position they're in anymore.
I mean, if you don't have names, it just feels like a weird.
So are we really okay? So
now you want to go down this? So no. If you don't have names, how do I know that there's people in charge of anything? How do I know that there's people in charge of anything if you don't know exactly their names? So I can't keep up with this soft language. I lose patience. Just say what you mean, for heaven's sake. And at that time, I wish we could have. But again, the fear of getting your channel taken down for saying the wrong words or the wrong combination of syllables was very, very real. Thank goodness we are beyond that. Quantex said, looks like we got a fella here that does his own research. You know what we do to readers and listeners, don't you, boy? Off with their head. Hey, shout out to Indie Fam. Welcome to the party. So is it anti-vax to get a flu shot once a year and then the following year decide not to get an mRNA experimental injection? According to Anirudh, yes. Yes, Indie Film is the only one of you who has been around since this aired. The only one of you. Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome to the party, brother.
I mean, if you don't have
Are we-
names, it just
okay.
feels like a weird.
So are
Weird
we really
conspiracy.
okay? So then we're saying that there's no powers that be that are higher than the individual.
There are powers, but they also
Okay.
have names. Like for
Okay.
example,
So
the
list
NIH
everybody
probably
that.
has
So you think it's effective right now to be listing the name of every single person that has some authority in jab legislation, or are you being facetious?
wait, no, I think that it's ridiculous.
when-
Oh, I am cracking myself up. I just it's me. The facial expressions at the same time. That was funny. I don't care if you found it funny. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Legislation, or are you being facetious?
Wait, no, I think that it's ridiculous.
So when
to
you say
that there
who
are-
is they, you know that it's they. We just don't. I just don't have their names in front of me. I don't know.
no,
I mean,
no, because you say they as though there's some sort of conspiratorial backroom that they're
you
changing
are
language.
you.
There is.
That's your interpretation. I said all I said was they, and you just agreed with me that so do you think
So-
I mean, even Biden himself has said they're not allowing me to answer questions. They're not. There's a they. I don't know who they are. I just know there's a they. It's quite obvious.
Do you feel like the they that is making decisions on what is considered unvax is the same they that's scheduling Biden's press conferences?
Say that again.
Do you believe that the they that is
Possibly, yeah.
deciding what unjabbed is supposed to mean, and the they that is scheduling Biden's press conferences, do you believe that they're the same they?
Depends. Depends on how wide you want that umbrella. Because when I say they, in terms of being treated treated a different way based on my jab status, then yes, it includes anybody who is buying the message that's coming from unharmed.
Am I part
So
of that?
So Quality said, if you want first class demolition of Anthony the Dwarf Fauci, read RK's book, The Real Anthony Fauci. I think that shit would keep me up at night. But shout out to RFK. What's his face? Tom Woods also had a really good book, Dire of a Psychosis, of all the insanity that went on there. And guys, we are now coming down to our second goal. Not met. 3.5 minutes left, guys. Come on, Morty's getting hungry here. He's getting hungry.
includes anybody who is buying the message that's coming from unharmed.
Am I part
So
of they?
So you think I'm a selfish, dirty person,
No.
but I'm not jabbed.
Okay, remember he said no.
I'm a selfish, dirty person,
No.
but I'm not jabbed. And you said anybody who's not jabbed is dirty and what was, I forget what the other word you used, but you think it's
Well,
immoral.
I do think that you are contributing to bioterrorism in the United States by not being vaccinated.
Have you asked about whether I have a medical or religious exemption?
Nope, you're just a terrible, horrible person, and I don't need to know anything else about you. That's who we're dealing with. Nick Luchetti out sponsoring himself, carrying the show tonight. Let's give him a nice thick boy for it, Nick. Thank you. So very, very much, brother. Very much appreciated. Quality said Tom Woods used to live here. Oh, word up. Well, yeah, Tom Woods is the one. I got to see him at Freedom Fest, and if I knew how to use the YouTube thing better, it would have been way better. But I went through StreamYard and it was too far away. But very good speech. But again, thank you to Nick Luchetti. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Out sponsoring yourself. Thank you so very, very much.
Whether I have a medical or religious exemption?
Do you have a medical exemption? I don't care about religious ones.
Why don't you care about religious ones? Do we
That's-
not have the freedom of religion in this country?
I didn't even remember that was a thing here. You just decide that freedom of religion doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah, you have the freedom to practice your religion.
Yes. Okay. So if it's against my religion, then why
Is-
don't you care about that?
Does being vaccinated prevent you from practicing your religion?
It doesn't matter.
Well,
If
so
it,
the
if
government
it does,
no,
if it does, then that's an exemption. That's what a religious exemption means. What do you think?
no. So the government is very clear on this in the Establishment Clause. The government cannot prevent you from practicing your religion. If
Right.
you being vaccinated means
Right.
that you can never practice your religion,
Right.
only then can that be
Right.
Yeah, so I follow Luchism, the religion of not injecting crazy shit that you don't understand into your body.
there could be a religious exemption.
Right.
For most people, that's not the case. I don't know of any
For me, it
religion
is.
that
My
that's the case.
religion, it doesn't have, there's not a approved list of religions. There's freedom of religion. So the Lutch religion is that you can't stand on you cannot be a part
I forgot that I said the same
of,
exact thing.
Lutch's principles if you go and let yourself become peer pressured into doing something that you don't feel is right.
So, Lech, instead of peer pressuring you, can I give you an analytical argument to go get the jab?
I think he already did, but yeah, let's see what he's got to say. First contact said doing pretty bad for pretty bad for you when the atheist is bringing up religious exemptions. Yup.
So, Lech, instead of peer pressuring you, can I give you an analytical argument to go get the jab?
Well, he said, "Well, delightful little authoritarian jet of purified liquid. Yuck! Not in my veins."
I mean, you can, but I already agree with the fact that the numbers make sense. Just like I agree with the fact that the numbers behind the numbers support spending more time in my apartment and less time in my car.
Ooh, I remember this. This was great. As in douche, like delightful little authoritarian jet of purifying liquid, as in douche. That's kind of gross. You're gross, but so is he. So that fits. That fits. Nick said, even as an atheist, as an American, that just offends me. What is this dude's problem? Yeah, me as well. I happen not to have a religion, but if I did, I would hope that it would be respected. And in the same way that I don't have a religion, I would also like that to be respected. But again, Anirudh doesn't care about anything that doesn't benefit Anirudh.
Right? That would be overall. That there's a lot more that could go wrong while I'm on the road, right?
Yeah.
I don't need a lecture on why that is the case in order to decide whether I'm going to take a job that requires me to be on the road all day.
That's still, so those who don't know, I am a professional dog trainer, and I do drive all over the county to different clients. And so, what again, as you can see, instead of stating the point, I'm trying to build up to it. And when that works, it hits. It hits. But you have to be in the position to know that it is going to do that. And I wasn't doing that as well. So instead of just putting the point up front and then backing it up, I'm giving all the reasons and then trying to have it all culminate in, well, this is why that. And again, if you can do that, great. But it's not really coming together here. Anyway, said, laughing at your definition of religious exemption. Why? I also got myself religious exemptions, and now I get no vaccines. What's funny about it? Just the irony, or the actual all right, what the hell is going on here? All right. Okay. Take 2, take 3. Are we back? Are we back? All right. Yeah, the internet's being weird. Okay. All right. Are we good? I think we're good. Yeah. So, anyway, why are you saying you make it laugh? Just because of the irony that I'm an atheist, or the actual the actual contents of what I said? Our said you can request kosher meals in prison based on religious beliefs. That is constitutional. Quality said, what's the most important rule of training a dog? Consistency, I would say yes, absolutely consistency. Having the way that I train, just quick aside here, side quest. The way that I teach needs is that, the easiest thing in the world would be if your dog spoke English, right? But your dog obviously doesn't speak English, and you don't speak dog. So the next best thing is to develop an open line of communication with your dog. And so you start with some basic commands, and then as you apply those to the world, your dog understands that, like, when sounds are coming out of your mouth, it's not just like Charlie Brown was treat outside. They start to pick up on that. And the more consistent you are with that, then the more consistent they will understand the patterns. Dogs are very good at pattern recognition. Good question. We get this. Yep, we got that. Kane said, never seen a boot he didn't want to lick. Yep. Our said he's wearing a brown shirt underneath his black V-neck. Oh, that's racist. I joke. Yeah, right. It's been a minute since we had a struggle stream, but we are back. Colin says, does this also work with girlfriends? I'll let you know when I get one. It's been a minute. Oh, you know what I mean? Anyway, all right, let's dive back in here.
That requires me to be on the road all day.
Because here's the thing, right? If I were to say you're not vaccinated or not jabbed, sorry, I'm making this mistake.
If you slip, then you slip. But if you,
yes, if you're not jabbed, then I would simply show you the evidence for how much money that would save or how much money would prevent in a future hospitalization, the discount rate of that. I think I did the math before. I don't know you're in New York, right? I don't know for New York specifically. You're in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know about the Northeast, but in Texas, for example, the average cost of COVID hospitalization is about $52,000.
So again, just in case we got broken out, he's trying to, instead of shame me, he's trying to give me the analytical argument. Okay, dude.
And the vaccine reduces your chance of hospitalization by, I believe, 10%. So in the consequence of you get COVID, you've net saved about $3,900. You have to discount a little. So that's a savings done just by getting the jab.
Okay, so
if you're being a rational actor and you're trying to maximize any type of well-being economically, you'd be very irrational not to get the jab.
Okay, and I don't even disagree with that.
Hey. There will be no speaking ill of my home state unless you live here. New York, you might know. Equality, are you from New York, New Jersey? Then I don't want to hear that bullshit. You said New Jersey, that is shithole. How dare you? We're the Garden State. We are the Garden State.
Not to get the jab.
Okay, and I don't even disagree with that. So let's take the specific example again, because we are talking about individual, we are talking about people, we are talking about lives. We are not just talking about numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The mother who has 3 young children, now in New York, 5.
So before we get to this, any film said, rationally speaking, how much did the government spend on the jab? I bet if you factor that number, it's going to make a big difference. Fantastic point. But he didn't think, nobody told him to put that in the calculus, so it doesn't matter.
Stupid.
Great point.
Who has 3 young children.
So I'm going to get that full thing.
The mother who has 3 young children. Now in New York, 5 and up, you've got to be jabbed. She got a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, and an 11-year-old.
Jealous.
Okay. And so we said, all right, let's go with the 11-year-old first, just to whatever. The 11-year-old is now in a wheelchair because of myocarditis or whatever, some side effect. That is extremely rare. But so is a child catching Rona. And if they do, the chances of them dying are literally statistically near 0.
Okay,
rational, not rational, numbers, efficacy, all of that. What can you say that is wrong with that mother not wanting her other 2 children to get the jab.
Yeah, not getting your other two children is incredibly irrational.
It's you did a thing and it destroyed your child. And so to not do it to your other children is irrational.
What?
Please explain that one. I said all the terminal and elderly who died alone or talking on a phone just pissed me off. Yeah, I mean, I'm not usually someone who's that sentimental, if you, for lack of a better word, but I'm right there with you. That what could be more important than being with your loved ones at the very last moments?
Yeah, not getting your other two children is incredibly irrational. I could understand if it's being terrifying, because we know this. The risk of myocarditis is actually greater from contracting COVID than from getting the vaccine. And even if you account for the likely chance of contracting COVID, your child is still safer vaccinated than unvaccinated, with specific regards to myocarditis. There are studies on this too. I can send them to you.
Now I'm trying to exert patience.
We've done the discounting. We've done the math. Even with the amount of information that we have, it's still the rational decision.
For you to say, I have 3 kids. I just did this thing to my one kid and it ruined their life. It's irrational not to do it to my next and youngest kid.
Stupid.
Is irrational.
Replace COVID with sending my kids to college. One person drinks too much and they die of binge drinking. I should not send my other kids to college. It's ridiculous then, and it's ridiculous with COVID.
Going to college is not a direct cause of alcohol poisoning. Those are not
No,
analogous.
but it increases your chances of getting alcohol poisoning.
That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about things that increase your.
Likewise,
we're talking
the
about
vaccine
causes and
increases your
effects.
chance
We're
having negative responses.
okay, but the kid already got the myocarditis, dude. The kid already got the myocarditis, and so you could even say statistically, those other 2 kids would be the least likely to get.
No, they're just as
side
likely
effects.
as the other kid.
The statistics of 3 children in one family are higher than 3 different families.
No. These are independent events statistically. So if you have a
Exactly. That's my point. He can't see beyond the statistics say, therefore, there's individual people behind those statistics.
1 million chance of getting myocarditis.
In her life, they are not individual things. This is again coming down to the entire point of where I think there is a gap in your thinking. Everything to you comes down to what is the overall picture with everybody and this utilitarian view. And some things are just more personal than that. And because you haven't had, you haven't had a myriad of different types of jobs and coworkers and bosses, you haven't had, you haven't, I mean, I don't know about your romantic life, but as far as I know, you're not married, you don't have any kids, you don't have many, I don't know how many of your friends have kids, but these are things that, the things that you're saying, normal people who are you are putting into this box because of this one thing, not being jabbed.
This was December 2021. So this was right in the heat of it. Was this because all of his information had been proven false, and actually the opposite? I mean, this really started because I was because he said something on Twitter about, oh, if you like Tim Pool, then you're crazy or stupid or something. That's really where it all started, and then he used the vaccine thing to justify that. Liberty Plus said he talks about stuff as if he personally knows. Instead of reality, he just follows what the establishment tells him to think.
Bingo.
That's what young liberals do, and unfortunately, older liberals as well.
Normal people of all different types of ideology and whatever, people of all walks of life would have similar types of concerns, at least something here or there that I'm throwing out. And all of them, specifically the last one with a mother who now has a child in a wheelchair because of this specific procedure. And you're saying, oh, it's irrational not to give your other kids this same procedure that just put your child in a wheelchair.
Yeah, 100%. The thing in the United States is medical misdiagnosis. These are when doctors mess up and kill their patients. That is not an argument to not go to the doctor. Likewise,
There'll be an argument to go to a different doctor.
Let's do a statistical example.
Okay, no, wait. I'm going to use that example.
Right.
So if you went to a doctor, that's a perfect example. You're right. It's not a reason not to use doctors. But if you went to a doctor and that doctor gave you a misdiagnosis, would it be rational to go back to that doctor, or would it be more rational to go to another doctor, or, as we're saying, not go back to that doctor?
Well, the most rational thing would be to sue that doctor for medical malpractice, but also, yeah, go to a different doctor.
There you go. Quality Deference said later he will die from terminal stupidity. Not enough brain cells to continue living. I mean, he did fall off the face of the earth, so he may have died from stupidity. I don't know. What did I say? Utilitarian, authoritarian utilitarianism. There you go. It was an accident. I did it on purpose, I swear. Good save. Good save. Thank you.
Well, the most rational thing would be to sue the doctor for medical malpractice, but also, yeah, go to a different doctor.
Okay, so that is more analogous to what we're talking about, because there
Right,
is
so
no
one
other
vaccine
jab.
causes-
There is no other jab that you can go to.
Wait, there are so many jabs. What are you talking about? There are at least
Oh my
I think,
God.
20 different vaccines. I believe there
Yeah, well, Moderna and J&J are gonna be like, they're so different, bro.
are 3 in the US and a couple more across continents. There are
And how many of those are still on the market right now?
multiple different jabs.
But I mean, see, this is what I mean. I'm having trouble seeing. I feel like you're not coming in good faith.
I'm
I
being
mean,
in as good faith as possible.
so we're saying
So again, I believe him. I believe him. I believe he is this dumb.
the variability of different jabs is analogous to the variability of different types of doctors.
Well, there aren't as many jabs as there are doctors, so it's
Exactly.
lot
Exactly.
less.
That's my point. There's only one type of Rona jab. That's what we're talking about. There's different there's different there's different brands. There's different whatever. I don't know the
wait,
ingredients.
many of them are using completely different technologies.
Okay.
So this was actually the issue that we had with the J&J jab, where there was a worry that it was causing blood clots. Yeah. But the statistical significance of those blood clots was less than the statistical significance of blood clots in the general population.
Why
Not to the people who got those blood clots.
does that matter?
Vaccine.
I don't care about the statistical significance if I'm living that out.
Bingo.
Sure. So if there's a
And so-
1 in a million chance of you getting myocarditis from this vaccine, then
And it's
that
something
1
that I
in a
don't have to
million
do,
is-
then yes, I'm not. There's a 1 in a million chance that a lot of things that I do that
Right,
or
so-
that I could do that I don't do, and
the cost of, let's say the cost of getting myocarditis is about $800,000 throughout your entire lifetime, and some number of DALYs, some number of years lost from your life.
You know, pain, ability to live a normal life. Don't worry about that stuff. Just the
We
money.
then index that against the much greater likelihood of hospitalization, and
So even in specifically talking about myself having myocarditis, his only metrics are, well, how much is it going to cost? It's insane. And people said, wait, so many of them are using different technologies, but is he saying they all work just as well as the others? I wish I would have asked him that. I wish I would have.
hospitalization and the cost associated with that, and we'd figure out, okay, which is more cost effective. In every calculation, the vaccine is still NPV positive, even factoring in the adverse side effects, the allergies. I had both COVID and I got the jab. The side effects from the jab were worse for me than COVID, mostly because I
which
took
is
the jab
another
immediately
reason
after I
why
got
not
COVID.
to even bother. Like, I may as well just get COVID then. Why if it's not as bad as the jab? Why wouldn't I just get COVID?
No, the side effects. I was not
Right,
sick.
yeah.
I just gained a lot of weight.
That's not. I don't get sick. That's not something I want to choose to do. And
Yeah.
Put a one in the chat if you would like to choose to be sick.
I had a negative reaction. Some of it might have been genetic. Some of it might have been because I got vaccinated a month after COVID. I don't know. Regardless, I'm still gonna get
You got jabbed a month after getting COVID.
Stupid.
What does the science say about that?
the booster because it's a ridiculous reason to not do something that's very cost effective, net beneficial, just because the side effects that have already been discounted in the
I bet he doesn't. He doesn't understand having that having COVID makes you better immune from COVID than any artificial means. To be fair, outside of the general notion of natural immunity, I don't think that it was widely understood specifically with COVID, but I could be wrong about that. Excuse me. Arrow said, have you seen that a vaccine for bubonic plague is in the works? Coop was a test run of our compliance. Yep. They cannot get to a mandate if you will not wear a mask. They cannot get to a mandate if you will not wear a mask. Do not comply. Do whatever you want to do. If shit's going down and you want to put a mask on because you feel that you want to protect yourself, go for it. Outside of that, do not comply just for the sake of complying.
The costs seem very scary. That's being ruled by fear and not rational.
I don't
decision.
disagree with you.
Correct. A rational person is ruled by fear. What was the? I just watched Interstellar. So have a lot of people. They just put it back on Netflix. And spoilers for Interstellar. I don't know who cares about spoilers and have not seen it. But the end of the movie, right? They are not the end of the movie, but they're trying to find these roles, and they get to the Matt Damon place, right? And Matt Damon saying, "Oh, this is all good," and and McConaughey is like, "Well, why don't they send the drones out here?" I don't know why I said it like that, but and Matt Damon's character says, "Well, you can't program a fear of death." And so they won't survive. They won't have the same incentives to do this, that, and the other, because you can't program a fear of death. You need that human element. And he's like, no, that's stupid. Why would you be fearful of your own death? I don't even know how to. Why wouldn't you? Jab with a bud. Any film said natural immunity was completely understood with every other infection until COVID, which I would just say was being pushed from the developers of the therapeutic to COVID. Follow the money. Yeah, I agree with you in hindsight. My question is, I just don't remember. Were people talking about how talking confidently about the strength of natural immunity in December of 2021? Possibly. And again, specifically with COVID. Possibly, but I don't remember. Yeah, it's classic, right? It's a classic. Quantic said, make sure to take your monkey packs via bird flu, HPV. It's hard to keep up these days. Yep.
Scary. That's being ruled by fear and not rational.
I don't
decision-making.
disagree with you.
Guys, we did just cross the 2-hour mark. Nick has been the only one. Let's keep this party raging, guys. We're coming up on the best part, and I don't want to cut it short on you.
That's being ruled by fear and not rational.
I don't
decision-making.
disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. But
Yeah.
there are.
I've never been ashamed to say I was afraid to get the vaccine. Morty, just stay. You're going to go over there, and then 2 seconds later, you're going to come back up here. Just stay. I've always said, yes, I am afraid of the government juice. Call me a beta, call me a loser, but I'm afraid of the government juice.
Plenty of things to in your life as you get older. I'm trying not to do that. So it was about to sound like that, but there's plenty of things in life
I feel like people
where
have done that to you, and you were pretty
Yeah.
pissed off when they did it.
Yeah, that's why I heard it coming out, and I was like, let me turn it facetious because I don't want to be an asshole. But there's plenty of things in life where you will have a unfounded fear of doing, and you make decisions based on that gut feeling that you don't have the numbers in front of you. And when you make enough of those decisions, you're forced to make enough of those decisions. You begin to trust or have a certain level of trust for your instinct. And this is something that you clearly are not taking into account, because it's not like, in the before time. Think of how
The before time. Oh, the before time. Shout out to Guam Tech. Thank you so much for the $2 make you holla. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, that comes with a treat for the Overlord. Let's keep the party party raging.
It's not like, you know, in the before time. Think of how small the group of anti-vaxxers really were. It was, I mean, you know, not a tiny group, but I mean, there wasn't, it wasn't a.
It was Jenny McCarthy and people who followed Jenny McCarthy. Any film said the hospital system in which I work along with everybody else said natural immunity was not good enough to fight COVID. That was straight from the mouths of the pharmaceutical companies selling the fake cure. I will say Rand Paul and a handful of others stood their ground for natural immunity. So shout out to that. But that goes to my point that, like, if I'm judging this as if it's not me, then I wouldn't hold the natural immunity argument against Lutch here. Because at that time, I don't think at least normal people, everyday people had, you know, that understanding of how strong natural immunity was for COVID compared to the vaccine. Clearly, at least I didn't. At least I didn't.
In, you know, not a tiny group, but I mean, there wasn't, it wasn't a, you know, a huge thing.
Unfortunately, the internet has made anti-jabbers very, very powerful. That's a
What?
In what way? In what way? What power?
What?
downside of the internet being a thing and social media being a thing.
Yeah, only I should be able to say my thoughts because I'm Anaroot and everything I say is so great, but other people,
Yeah, because why would we want Americans to speak if they don't agree with us, right?
go Lutch! Yeah! Yes, I dilly-dillied myself.
I mean, I'm fine with Americans speaking. It's just really sad.
Oh, you're fine with it. Oh, well, thank
Just
you.
said it was a bad thing.
I mean, there are negative effects. It would probably be a worse thing to take away their rights to speak.
Okay, well, finally, we got some little bit of logic, rationality. I don't know. Indie film. Thank you so very, very much. You guys know you can put messages in the chat, right? But no question, no comment, just pure love of the Overlord. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Let's keep the party raging. Somebody gonna steal Nick's
It would
spot?
probably be a worse thing to take away their rights to speak
Or is Nick gonna secure it?
because we can calculate that pretty easily too.
Which you would have been, but again, so you say that now, but if we had had this conversation about boosters 1 year ago, 6 months ago, this would have fallen under the category of the stuff that you would agree is bannable, dangerous, misinformation, all of that. And now the conspiracy, quote unquote, all of them have come to fruition.
And I mean, if it wasn't true then, every single statement about COVID and the vaccine were all lies to some extent. I said, I drink municipal tap water because I trust my kidneys. A Brita if I'm feeling fancy. You think I use a Brita for that? Hell yeah. Tap water is for the real ones. That's why I say I don't get sick. Like I don't get sick. I don't know what it is. Like I spent 5 years as a drug addict, sharing, literally taking dollar bills, rolling them up, putting them in my nose, and then giving them to somebody else, and he's putting it in his nose, and then I put it back in my nose. You know, episode of The Office where Dwight's like, we should have bowls of dirt at every, I mean, there's something to it. Any film said, so this was during booster time. Did you happen to bring up the fact that Biden and all the other idiots, were saying when you get the shot, you can't get sick and you can't pass it on? I think so. I think this is where I bring that up. I think so. But again, remember, this is pre-IndianJesus. So I didn't really know what was good. I just think, like, I don't know that the movie, well, again, I only saw part 1. So I don't really know how the story ends. But just feels like they tried to put too much. Like it should have been either a series of movies or a series. It just seems like there's so much going on. We're like, what is that? What is that? And then I watched a breakdown video. It's like, oh, well, this political party does that. And this, I'm like, that's not in the movie. That's not in the movie. How am I supposed to know that? So I probably am not going to watch part 2, but we'll see. We'll see.
The conspiracy, quote unquote, all of them have come to fruition.
Oh, so this conversation, I mean, I'm at least trying to be in like good faith to make sure that there are no conspiracies. But yeah, I feel like you said some very
Conspiracies are bad, all of them. Just trust the establishment.
conspiratorial things in this conversation.
Uh-huh.
I don't
Which would
disagree, but my
probably
point
be-
is that things that seemed conspiratorial 1 year ago are reality now. So if something seems conspiratorial now, then in 1 year, it's very likely, based on the previous year, that there's
And guess what happened? Exactly what we were all saying. Yeah, I agree. And it's a cool, like, I think it could have been, I think Dune could have been, if it was a series, could have been like Game of Thrones level. It seems like there's enough there, but I don't know. Just some, but Dumbledore dies. No. Why did you tell me? I love Dumbledore. I do. Speaking of Dumbledore, I would like to do a Harry Potter rewatch. Like I saw the first 2 or 3 movies all the time when I was a kid. I'm a millennial. What do you want from me? But I never really watched the later ones, and I heard that they got a lot more serious and a lot better as movies. So maybe we should do that. We should do that. We definitely need more movie nights as well in Discord, guys. If you are not a member of Discord, it is free to join. Come on and join us if one of the bots could drop the link. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to become a member, pinned at the top of the chat, it's only $2.99 a month. That is 12 after parties. And if you don't like it, then you just cancel it. Yes, the cinematography and I like the way the movie looked. And I do feel like if I had seen it, in a theater, that I would have been in awe of the like the sound design. It did seem that way, but I just watched it on Netflix, so is what it is. All right.
then in 1 year, it's very likely, based on the previous year,
Thank you, sir.
I
that
feel
there's
like
a
if I had
chance
this
that
conversation a year ago it would sound just as equally conspiratorial to me.
well, but then you would have been wrong.
It's a conspiracy. We've already proven that it's right, but because it was called a conspiracy 6 months ago, I'm not going to trust what we know to be true.
What? Stupid.
That's called dogma. That's called dogma. Shout out to Nick Lucetti said, fuck y'all. He's trying to be nice. He's trying to be nice, but he's like, fuck you, ain't nobody taking my sponsor spot. Out sponsoring your goddamn self. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. And of course, the new, well, not new, out sponsoring yourself. Arrow said, I also swam in strange bodies of water as a child. Dead cats floating by us in the canals. Well, your immune system must be top tier. Top tier. Thank you again, Nick. Very much appreciated. And you guys know that means the party rages
It would sound
on.
just as equally conspiratorial.
Yeah, I want to hear that again. That he literally is going to say, well, the things that we thought are conspiracies now, when they become a fact, I'm still not going to believe them.
Now, then in 1 year, it's very likely, based on the previous year, that there's a chance
this
that
conversation a year ago it would sound just as equally conspiratorial to me.
well, but then you would have been wrong, because we would have been talking about the, whether people are going to, it's just going to start with one shot, and eventually they're going to have boosters, and they're going to have mandates. You're going to have to show your papers, and you're going to be like, no, that's all conspiracy theory. You're being
We knew
conspiratorial.
from day one, because of how variable this virus was, that we might.
Notice, again, I'm better now, but with this, but notice how he just glossed over that point. Like, I'm dead to rights and saying, you were saying all that stuff was conspiratorial, and yet now it is fact that we all agree on. And just like, well, I'm going to move on to something else.
you're
We
being
knew
conspiratorial.
from day one, because of how variable this virus was, that we might need multiple
wasn't,
different types
though.
of vaccines. It's why we had multiple different companies working together with vaccines for creating different types of dosages and
But so
dosage
you,
schemes.
so there was no rule on YouTube that if you mention a booster, that you would get your channel taken down. That if you would mention a mandate, you would get your channel taken down. If you, I think currently, if you use the horse dewormer name,
Ivermectin, come for me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Indie with the $10. I'm not even gonna break it up. Let's give him that whole thing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much, sir. All right. So we do still have the other piece of that extra treat. We've got enough to keep the party raging for a little bit, so we'll add this as an extra reward. We're at 1997 right now. If we can, let's say, if we get to $35, if we get to 35, that's $15. If we get $35, Morty gets the rest of his treat. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much, guys. Guys are doing the Lord's work. Pun intended. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, our new sponsor of the stream.
you use the horse dewormer name, then I'm pretty sure you at least get somebody's attention. These are things that were called conspiracies the same way. I don't really know, and they turned out to be completely exactly on the nose. So where is my question is, where is your confidence coming from to assign? Oh, okay, all the old conspiracies about this very thing that I thought were wrong that have come true. That was wrong about those, but I'm right. I would love that level of confidence.
Conspiracy.
I would love that level of confidence. Indeed. I would love to be able to just say dumb shit and just believe it. Let's believe it. Let's hear it for Indie Film, a real legend. Absolutely. Thank you so very much, guys. Aracetta's brow is getting awfully furrowed. Yikes, he's not liking it. And Film said this guy is trying to change history from day one because of variables. That's not what the experts said. There was no mention of boosters or variables. By the way, there's a lot of research now in ivermectin as a treatment for cancers, as there was at the time. But they didn't want you to say it, so you weren't allowed to say it. Rules are rules. Hey, shout out to our boy, Funky Fresh Funk Messer General, lying in wait for the Overlord. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir. Look at that, look at that. He knows what it is this time. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated. And as you can tell, let's see how long. It's 2:28. Let's see how long until he's done with that shit. Thank you so much, brother. Very, very, very much appreciated from the bottom of my heart.
Now I'm right. I'm just
Yeah, I was wrong before, but no.
Oh, okay. All the old conspiracies about this very thing that I thought were wrong that have come true. That was wrong about those, but I'm right. I would love that level of
Most
confidence.
conspiracy theories tend to be incorrect. There are a couple that are true.
Whoa. Most conspiracy theories tend to be incorrect. Where's the source? And if we are saying specifically conspiracy theories about COVID, come on, man. Nick said it sure makes me think of this scene. The scene. Ignorance is bliss. Or the phrase ignorance is bliss. If that's true, this kid must be the happiest person on the planet. Oh, right for the jugular. Gomzak said Mark Zuckerberg immediately admitted on JRE today that Biden, the Biden admin forced him to censor anything not COVID vax narrative, including other helpful therapeutics. Yep. I did start that. I didn't get a chance to see it all the way through, and we already had this, and I pushed it from Wednesday. I mean, I'm gonna do a poll if you guys want me to cover that specifically. Yeah, the saying, ignorance is bliss. Yep. Arrow said, he cringes himself to sleep at night or whenever. I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. I don't think so. I think he's like, I did great here. This stupid Trump supporting anti-vaxxer, he tried to get me with his anti-vaxxery, and I didn't let him. That's honestly how I think he thinks this. Anyway, said, yes, I remember when all the racists were saying the COVID virus came from the COVID virus factory in Wuhan, China. Stupid conspiracy theorists.
How dare you?
Yep.
Most conspiracy theories tend to be incorrect. There are a couple that are true, but if I were to make like a guess, it's more likely that conspiracy is untrue.
So you're going back to the numbers of what the statistics on.
I always go back to the numbers, man. You know me by
This
now.
is your problem, though.
That is a problem. When all you know how to interpret life is through numbers, that is a problem. I said, I'm trying to figure out if he's trolling or if he really believes what he's saying. You absolutely could have broken his mind with the Ozempic release dates. I know. Oh! What I would have given to just known what it was. To just be like, isn't there something like that? And he's like, yeah, we should mandate it. And then getting him on air saying, yes, anyone over this weight or this BMI or this whatever should be mandated to take Ozempic. I don't have the words. But missed opportunity. But we're here now.
Of what the statistics on.
I always go back to the numbers, man. You know me by now.
This is your problem, though. That's not a good thing, dude. That's not a good thing. That's a very limited way of looking at the world.
This
is what I'm telling you.
They're the best way to look at the world. Numbers don't exist everywhere. That's why it's
Exactly. Numbers don't exist anywhere. Is he gone? He's done? 4 minutes. 4 minutes. High five. You got that one good. No, give me a real high five. There you go. Good boy. Let's give you an extra one just because you're so damn cute. Extra two. Because I love you and I love him. Love everybody. All right. Moving on.
This is what I'm telling you.
They're the best way to look at the world. Numbers don't exist everywhere. That's why sadly I can't use them all the time. But where they
Okay,
exist,
so
use
fine.
them.
Fine. I agree with you. But just because there are numbers about something doesn't mean the numbers tell the whole story. We did this in the last time. We went over it for a long time. So we don't need to go over this again because you've already agreed that there are plenty of situations that the numbers and the statistics don't matter. And we are talking about individual people's lives and individual people's choices. And so it doesn't, whether it's 0.00001% that something bad can happen. Even if that's one person in the entire country, to that one person, all your statistics and everything have no bearing on their experience. Dustin said it perfectly. Numbers do not explain what my rights should be. I have rights, and it doesn't fucking matter what your numbers say.
Exactly. So, like I was just saying on here, Anna Root and I had spent a lot of time on stream with different topics. There is also, if you remember, Blaine Pardoe, who, older white dude, author who came on. He is in some of those streams as well. And the first one that we did was actually about like we were saying like, okay, who are good sources to trust in terms of what channels and stuff, and they kind of blindsided me, and they were both like, oh, if you're watching stuff on YouTube or whatever, that's bad, you should be reading this, that or that. And so it was interesting, but let me know if you guys are into that or not. Zooropa? What's Zooropa? I don't know what that is.
You do not have the right to trample on what I want to do with
So we
my
might
body.
disagree on like the realm of someone's rights. I believe that largely I would restrict the realm of rights to the Constitution. Beyond that, I would need pretty strong arguments. Like, for example, the Constitution doesn't have a right to water. I think that's very
This
beneficial.
is
We
all
can
because
quantify
you
Wait. So you're saying you would stick to the Constitution, and the Constitution doesn't have a right to water, does have a right to life, which is, your water is necessary to that, but put that to the side. So are you saying you would be okay with the government preventing people from getting water? That's the logical conclusion of what you just said.
For example, the Constitution doesn't have a right to water.
Yeah, wait. I want to hear.
I believe that largely I would restrict the realm of rights to the Constitution.
So I would restrict the realm of rights to the Constitution.
Beyond that, I would need pretty strong arguments. Like, for example,
So you need a strong argument in order to give people water. The tolerant left, baby. The tolerant left. Arrow said data mining, manipulation, skewing, outright falsification never happens. Never. Yeah, no, it's perfect.
the Constitution doesn't have a right to water. I think that's very
This
beneficial.
is
We
all
can
because
quantify
you
that.
have not had things in your life that have been trampled on by the government just yet. I guarantee you, if I show you that tweet that you said "Yay for tyranny" or "Yay, I'm a tyrant" or whatever,
That was facetious.
and
to say.
you were being facetious, but you were also, on point. You were legitimately cheering for tyranny. I guarantee you, in 10 years, if I show you that,
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was clearly something around COVID. And he was like, yay, tyranny. And he was kind of saying it tongue in cheek, but like it was tyranny and he was cheering it on. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're being cutesy, if what you're actually saying is what you're actually saying.
we're legitimately cheering for tyranny. I guarantee you, in 10 years, if I show you that tweet, that you will cringe. I guarantee you. I'll
See,
put
I
$1,000 on it right now.
I don't think I would ever find government intervention in the market a tyrannical thing.
What other, again, this is kind of facetious, but what other type of tyranny is there?
Ever find government intervention in the market a tyrannical thing?
Then what even is tyranny? Why are you even using that word if you don't think that it applies to anything? If it's, I don't get it. Any film said, government intervention in the market is kind of the definition of tyranny. Exactly. Quantum said, what the fuck is libertarian about this guy? Nothing. The way that he tells people that he's a socialist libertarian. Words, to these socialists, words don't have meaning. So he just gets to be whatever he wants to be because it sounds cool. It sounds cool. I'm sure there's some. I honestly, I don't. I was legitimately trying to be like, let's see if we can. I really do not know. I really do not know.
I am an economist.
This was in my head with
tyrannical thing. I am an economist. Half of the stuff that we do is talk about government intervention in the market.
Oh, okay. I don't
So
understand
in the
the point of
market,
that.
yeah. So in the market of individuals who are choosing to get vaccinated or not get vaccinated, that's a marketplace. There's an exchange of vaccines for individuals. Government intervention to get people vaccinated.
Yeah, he calls himself a socialist libertarian or libertarian social, whatever one.
So long as it's NPV positive and it doesn't trample on constitutionally protected rights, there's just not a very strong argument to oppose the mandate otherwise.
Liberty, bodily autonomy, things that the left used to care about. And guys, we are at 50-50 on the poll. Would you want to see other stream reviews with Anirudh? Let me know. We're at 50-50. I said he's an infant on a throne. Period. Agreed.
Freedom. It's
Freedom is
cliche
something-
and it's trite, but it's very much that simple.
Yeah,
that is
but
not how this country works. That's not how
it's exactly how
All right, unless he said a socialist would allow the company to vote for vaccines. But nope. Just what Anirudh says.
this country works. For the past 100 years, we've had vaccine mandates.
not by decree. Not by decree. not with 1-year-old jabs that
Wait.
have yet to be
These
fully-
vaccines that we have, the mRNA ones, they are better than most of the vaccines
Said who? Said who?
that we've ever made throughout history. These are the most effective, some of the most potent vaccines that have ever been developed by humans.
So more potent equals no long-term effects. I don't think that's how that works, bro.
This is a true revolution in technology. So, I mean, the argument is if those vaccine mandates were acceptable, these new ones with even better vaccines would be more acceptable. These vaccines are safer than any
Okay,
other
so
vaccine.
then
How do you know that? They just told you that they're safer. We haven't had enough time to learn whether or not they're safe or not. They just told you it. So you just agreed with the overlords and not the good overlord.
Better vaccines would be more acceptable. These vaccines are safer than any
okay,
other
so
vaccine.
then why do I need it shoved in my face that I need to go and make this choice? Why aren't we going through the same channels?
Wait, the vaccines are FDA approved, or at least the Pfizer one.
The mandate, I'm talking about the mandates.
Yeah, because people aren't getting vaccinated.
Okay, because
I
we
wish-
have the freedom to choose not to. And
Yeah,
Biden doesn't
now
have the
this is
right to decree a new mandate. That's how it works. If you want a mandate, you have to
So,
go through the proper
Are
legal
you talking
channels.
about like ethical rights or like constitutional rights? Because he has a
Both.
constitutional right to do it.
Yeah, right?
No,
Both.
it doesn't. It's already been stricken down.
Did you say he has a cultural right? Did that? He didn't just say that, right?
If you want a mandate, you have to
So,
go through the proper
Are
legal
you talking about
channels.
like ethical rights or like constitutional rights? Because he has a
Both.
constitutional right to do it.
No, he doesn't. It's already been stricken down by the
Oh, he said he had a constitutional right.
Supreme Court.
Wait,
Every-
which vaccine
The-
mandate has been struck down by the Supreme Court?
I would have to look it up. I don't know, but it's a if I'm remembering correctly, they said it was a state issue, and so
So this is why, again, when it comes to these types of discussions, it's not enough to just know what you're talking about. You have to be able to recall enough. Even if I wasn't, well, it's this study at this time published by this person, and they did this, and this was the methodology. At least if I'm able to, yeah, there was a study in this, and they said that, or there was a ruling in this, and they said that. Like, there has to be something. There has to be something that
All right, yeah.
he can't use an executive order to whatever. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't. This is why I wanted our.
Oh yeah,
our
so
first.
yeah, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal, yeah, it made the issue because of the federal supremacy clause. Yeah, so this is a state issue, not a federal issue.
There you go. So I was right, and you were still trying to argue, but I was right. Nick said he probably is clueless that a larger percentage of Republicans are closer to libertarians than the percentage of Democrats who are. He just thought it sounded cool. Yep, socialist libertarian, huh? Cool name. Sounds smart to morons. I'm just a humble wombat. Well, the best wombat I ever did know, man. The best one. So they blinded him with no, wait. They didn't blind him with science. They blinded him with the science. Well, apparently Bosch is also a socialist libertarian. This is starting to make a lot more sense. Yep, I remember that. I remember that that's where I'd heard that before. Sad. What a loser.
The federal supremacy clause, yeah, so this is a state issue, not a federal issue. Yeah, so I would push for governors to do it instead of Biden.
Fair, and that would be fair.
Oh, he is definitely all about the trans stuff.
And I think that,
Or at least was in 2021.
That wouldn't work because most people don't want the mandates. I mean, that's it.
That's it.
But for example, if a governor like,
But you want it, so it's okay to trample over what they want.
no.
even
So
if
for
you-
example, if Greg Abbott, I don't really like the man, but
Shout out to Craig Abbott.
Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, says, "Oh, I'm going to do a vaccine mandate," I'd be like, "Yo, go, Greg Abbott! You're finally doing something great for a change." And
He didn't do that.
You'd be okay with that
Because he's a
because it's
good
done from on the state level, right?
Well, I would be, but my point is I don't
Like legally, yeah. If we determine that something is legally up to the states, like abortion, I am totally fine with states determining that you could completely restrict abortion, and I'm okay with the concept of a state determining that you can have abortion up to 9 months. Not the actual, I'm not okay with that, but the decision is up to the states. That is why I prefer that even though abortion is murder, the correct legal decision has to come from the states, which is why I preferred Roe v. Wade, because I don't want babies to die. He doesn't know how to think on different levels. Conte said, I really do wonder what he has to say now that the science has been proven to have agreed with us the whole time. Gotta get him back on the show somehow. I was trying to find his Twitter. I don't know. I mean, I would just, maybe he blocked me or something. Let's see something here. Because you can search your own stuff, right? How do you search your own tweets? Oh, maybe it's in messages. Hold on. Give me a second here. Because if I can find him in my messages. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. June? Okay. Well, I mean, where are we? At least he's, as of June 2024, said both these dudes have lost their brains. Biden more than Trump. All right. Well, so let's see. Let's give him the thing here. Actually, no, let's not even. Let's say, hey, bro. Hope you've been well. Are you still making content? Would be dope to catch up. Let's see. Apim said this guy is disabled phobic. Oh,
How dare you?
the worst kinds of people. We definitely take care of our wombats. That's what we care about. Is he? I didn't know that. Funkadelic George. What is happening? Funkmaster said, yes, please have him on the show again. I would like to ask him if he was born dumb or grew into it. I could tell you that it's the latter. He's a smart kid, but he just stuck his nose in books and never got it up, and that's how he lived. But again, this was 3 years ago, so we'll see. So he's probably only had COVID 3 times since then. Well, hey man, I mean, if he sees this, I don't know how much he's gonna be willing to come back, but that may be all the more reason to be like, hey, yo, you fucking went hard. I need to come defend myself. So we'll see. Enter the platform is open. The platform is open. And I mean, hey, if you want, actually, let me keep Twitter open. Be like, if you want to come through right now, come through right now.
With that, because it's done on the state level, right?
Well, I would be, but
I'm trying to get him back on the channel.
my point is, I think you would be in the minority of people who are saying, oh, he's doing something good. Because even people who, again, I don't have the numbers. I'm sure you could find a poll that would support this, but the majority of people that I have heard, listened to, talked to, seen express an opinion, have been emphatically for the jab and emphatically against the mandates. And so
All right.
I think if this were to go to
All right, guys. If you've been here since the beginning, you already saw a little clip of this. If you were here on Monday, right? No, Wednesday. If you were here Wednesday, you saw a little sneak peek. But this is the moment.
through the proper legal channels, then most people in any given state would likely shoot it down. And if they didn't, then that's fine, because then that doesn't there's still the rest of the country, which is still not cool it's just not cool to have that. But at least there's a way out. You're just saying, I decide now that because of your opinion, you don't get to be a real American.
When did I ever say that?
Not
I
you,
never said
Biden.
you weren't an
Oh,
American.
man.
I mean, I will say this.
Is everybody, whatever you're doing, if this is on your phone or your screen or whatever, this is the whole reason we are here.
Not
I
you,
never said
Biden.
you weren't an American. I mean, I will say this is probably the one of those inflammatory things that I say. People who refuse to get the vaccine are bioterrorists.
That's such an empty thing to say. Like, that's not what that word means.
What?
Like, that's just not what that word means.
On my own platform, you can see my old I didn't read your book podcast thing when I still had to pay for the StreamYard, or I didn't pay to get rid of the StreamYard thing on my own platform. You're a bioterrorist.
Inflammatory thing that I say. People who refuse to get the vaccine are bioterrorists.
That's such an empty thing to say. Like, that's not what that word means. Like, that's just not what that word means. And this is, you're talking, you want to come in, and I'm sure you would go
They're not legally
buck wild.
bioterrorists.
You,
What are the kinds?
Jesus Christ. I'm flabbergasted at how flippant
The flabbers are gasted.
the left is with just using these grandiose words and just flinging mud. You just called me a terrorist, bro.
Dare you?
A bioterrorist, yes.
And now he's laughing about it. And that's fun.
Come on, that's still a terrorist,
It's a subclass of terrorist, yes.
and you're just okay with throwing that around.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, not even, yeah, well, maybe, no, oh, definitely. The same way Obama was just calling Trump Hitler and then sat next to him and yucking it up at Jimmy Carter's funeral, right? These people are pathetic. I said the baby Indian Jesus needs the funk, Master General. You are correct. Nick said he says it like you were releasing anthrax on a major city or something. It hurts my brain to think he is this ignorant. How do you think I felt? I was just so blown away. I was blown away. Or, Nick, hear me out, says Funkmaster General. You could just tell him, shut the fuck up, you knuckle dragger! That would, I would appreciate that. I would love that. I really hope, oh, wait. Notification, not a message. All right. Yeah, wild. Any film said no, it's true. I ran to the bank. I told them I was unvaxxed and threatened to sneeze. They gave me $800 to leave. That is some bioterrorism for sure.
And you're just okay with throwing that around.
Oh,
Oh,
definitely.
definitely.
You think you genuinely think I am terrorizing people by only interacting with my dog and people who invite me into their homes?
And so again, this is when everything was shut down. So as a dog trainer, I'm going to people's homes. It's not like we're going to a store. It's not like I'm going into people's homes. And if they ask me to wear a mask, despite the fact that I was this person and this person, I would wear a mask because it's your home. Bioterrorist. A bioterrorist. Why are you talking to a bioterrorist, Anna Rude?
Only interacting with my dog and people who invite me into their homes.
So
I'm a
not in
bioterrorist.
Not in a legal sense, not in any type of like you're violent, but you are contributing to
What
the creation
what
of
other
new-
sense is there? What other sense is there?
I'm glad I cut him off there because he tried to walk it back. Well, not like really, but just like bad. I just mean that you're like bad. Like said, bioterrorism is what happened on Japanese trains in the 90s, where the socialists robbed the meaning from all things.
Bingo.
That's the name of the game. Burn it all down. I said, what is bioterrorism? Sounds like sandworms, but I guess it means biological terrorism. Exactly. Releasing, releasing a chemical agent, or like the Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises. There we go. Took me a second, but I got it. Dark Knight Rises, where he's like, he wants to, right? Am I mixing that up with someone else? Either way, but there's a bunch of, there's a bunch of movies where it's like, we want to release something into the water supply. We need, release something into the air where it makes everybody sick and all that kind of stuff. Bioterrorism. Any said, turns out the Wuhan Virology Lab may have been full of bioterrorists. May have. You mean absolutely were. And led by King Bioterrorist Anthony the word I can't say on YouTube, Fauci.
Loser.
And we're not done, guys. We're not done. He's still going.
Like, you're violent, but you are contributing to
What
the creation
what
of
other
new-
sense is there? What other sense is there?
I guess the colloquial sense that you are contributing to the possible.
Oh, so the thing
creation
that
of
you
new-
made up for this conversation.
No, just my personal feelings.
My personal feelings are that you're a bioterrorist.
What?
That's not what that means.
But that's your person. So I based on my personal feelings, colloquially, you're a bald white guy. That's the exact equivalent to what you just
Yeah,
did.
and they both are
That's the
equally-
exact equivalent to
Yeah.
what so much of the problem with the left is that you just make up words. You use these anti bizarro words. Anti-racism is treating everybody by their race. Anti-fascism is using violence to enact your political policies. I mean, it's ridiculous. And the fact that you could say this is in good faith, and I'll take that back, because sadly, I believe you are here in good faith.
Oh, I am in good faith. I
do believe that, and that's what's even sadder about this. Because if you were trying to be, if you're trying to be malicious, I could see what you were doing. But the fact that you are using those same tactics and you think that you're being fair and you think that that's intellectually honest means that your frame of reference for what is acceptable civil debate is so very low that you think that's acceptable to just, oh, I don't know, you don't agree with me, so you're a terrorist. That's a good faith debate?
Lutch, when I say that,
So we're not done, because I get to turn it around on him and be right. And be the victim here. Oh, it's beautiful.
that a person refuses to get vaccinated contributes to the possible creation of new variants.
I know what you
The
meant.
logical conclusion
That's
of
not what
that
you said.
is- Wait,
That's
so
not what
that's
you
the
said.
reason why
We're
I
talking
consider-
about words.
So the reason why I use
I said I was assaulted in the organic produce section by a bio Karen clutching her husband's arm. She's breathing our vegetables. No! There you go. Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it.
the word bioterrorist is because I believe that not getting the vaccine.
Oh, we have a full explanation
Words.
here.
So the reason why I use the word bioterrorist is
Okay, the reason why he's using bioterrorist
because I believe that not getting the vaccine
Is because it works. Is because it's
No.
got shock value. Because
No,
if you
not
said what it
getting
really meant, then it wouldn't have that much vavavoom, right?
Let me steel man this. The reason why I say that you are a bioterrorist is because you're contributing to the possible creation of new strains by not getting vaccinated
That's
and
not
not
what steel man
inculcating
means,
herd
but go
immunity.
ahead.
So the best explanation of that. It's a very weak reason to call someone bioterrorist. I'll admit that. But the reason why is because it's in the creation of new strains. So someone could unintentionally be creating bioterror by not getting the vaccine.
How many Omicron deaths have there been so far?
I think they've been very low. Omicron seems to be very,
Oh.
very infectious, but not
Oh.
very lethal. I don't think there have
Mm.
been many.
Oh, that's not very common for a virus, though, is it? Or is
No,
that
there are
typically?
some vaccines that spread very quickly that aren't volatile.
Okay. So what you're telling me is
Cue the haters saying what is the fucking thing that they or the I don't remember the radio voice. Oh, watch us use this radio voice.
Okay. So what you're telling me is that I'm aiding the pussification, if we can, of COVID, and you, by having your defenses up, are just leaving the barbells there, letting Rona just get stronger and stronger and stronger. You're the bioterrorist.
Dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly to my fucking self. I just created a perfect argument as to if there was a bioterrorist on that screen, that it sure as shit isn't me.
But you can telling me is that I'm aiding the pussification, if we can, of COVID, and you, by having your defenses up, are just
Meaning the vaccine.
leaving the barbells there, letting Rona just get stronger and stronger and stronger. You're the bioterrorist.
I mean, if that's your interpretation, though,
It's not. But you
epidemiologically,
see how you can't. There's no. I mean, I guess
This is why it's important to understand the underlying logic of what is being said. This is why, and I do want to get back to the philosophy Friday stuff, and we will. But all that stuff that we talk, that is how you get to a place where it's like bioterrorist. Okay, well, if you're gonna throw that word into the mix, I can do this on the fly because I already can measure or map out the points and where this applies to that and that applies to that. So if I just flip it, it's the same thing. And well, I mean, what is helping the virus helping the virus mutate is the vaccines. So I mean, what do you want from me?
stronger and stronger and stronger. You're the bioterrorist.
I mean, if that's your interpretation, though, epidemiologically,
It's not. But you see how you can't. There's no. I mean, I assume that you know that I was being facetious. I mean, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really didn't know he was that dumb.
I was assuming that you know that, but the fact is that you literally did the exact same thing to me, but you weren't being facetious.
No,
Do you not
if
see
you're
that?
Look, I would
Do
disagree.
you
with
not?
your
It's a
rationale,
yes
but
or no
I feel like
question.
your
Do you not
phrase-
see that?
And again, just trying to breeze, but ooh, that doesn't look good for me. Let me just talk about something else.
Do you not see that you just did the exact same thing that
Oh,
we
yeah, I
both
see.
laughed
I
at
see.
because it was so ridiculous, and I was being facetious, and you weren't, and you did the exact same thing using the exact same terminology based on the exact same topic. You
So
don't see
if
an
you
issue
were-
with that?
even if- I do not see an issue if you were being serious. I do not see an issue. If you would like to call me a bioterrorist, I'm more than welcome it.
What the fuck are you guys talking about? What is going on here? What is happening?
See an
If you
issue
were-
with that?
even if- I do not see an issue if you were being serious. I do not see an issue. If you would like,
Wait. He wouldn't have an issue of me saying that anybody who's vaccinated is a bioterrorist if I was being serious.
What?
I do not see an issue if you were being serious.
Why? What is
I
that
do
have to
not
do-
see an issue. If you would like to call me a bioterrorist, I'm more than welcome it.
Nah, I prefer using words as they were intended to be used to help communicate. You know, like words.
That's not the question. The question is, do you see that we both agreed it was so ridiculous and I didn't need to explain that I was being facetious based on what I was saying, and that you said the exact same thing to me in all seriousness?
So the reason why I considered what you said,
I
ridiculous is
understand the
because-
reason.
Okay.
What I'm trying to draw attention to is that when I say it about you, oh, ha ha ha, of course not. But when you say it about me, of course, yeah, no, yeah, dead serious. I'm dead serious, dude. You're a terrorist. You're a bioterrorist. Not legally, but I mean, like, you are, like sitting down and murdering babies. But I'm like,
All right, then let me amend this statement. I think it was very responsible for me to say that you were a bioterrorist, and I
You
apologize
think?
for that? In hindsight, I think that was a pretty stupid thing to say.
but you
Agree.
still believe it.
Do I believe it? I mean,
I don't want you to lie to me.
So after all of that, he's still like, well, it was stupid for me to say that, but I do actually believe it.
Stupid.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, why are you apologizing if you actually meant what you said?
In hindsight, I think that was a pretty stupid thing to say.
But you still believe it.
Do I believe it? I mean,
I don't want you to lie to me.
So I don't need to do that because I'm smarter and I have better ideas. So I just go with that.
The
I
issue
actually
isn't
don't.
that.
I'll give
That's
you
the
honest
point, dude.
answer. I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
need your.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
need a. I don't need a fake apology from you. I'm a big boy. I don't
No,
care
I'm
what
not
the
sure
fuck
if
you
I
think.
believe it. I'll have to think on it
Fair
a bit
enough.
more. I'm not sure
Fair
if
enough.
I believe it.
I think you do believe it, and I think sadly it's not because you're a malicious person. I think it's because you listen to people who are malicious and
Bingo.
see the line to get your emotions up this way, and your willingness to engage with people like me on topics like this.
No, I
And
think
part of
I
that
think you're
is
definitely right. I am malicious towards social conservatives.
I mean, okay. Okay. I mean, he said it. I'm malicious towards social conservatives. And again, he doesn't see an issue with that. Because again, these people see this as a game. When you have the privilege that none of this shit actually affects you, you can look at it as a game. I said, wow, moment of clarity. Too bad it was only a moment in his life. Did he really, though? I mean, I don't know. You missed the whole thing, brother. You missed the whole thing. He called me a bioterrorist. And then I turned it around on him. And somehow he still is saying that he's got a point. Socialist conservatives. No, social conservatives. Socially conservative, not socialist. Social conservative.
Malicious towards socialist conservatives.
Okay, maybe he did say socialist, but I think let's see, because I thought at least at the time,
Or people with some certain social conservative beliefs. I'll agree with that.
yeah. So some social conservative
I'm
belief,
definitely malicious.
definitely malicious.
Okay.
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Okay. So, but
I'm like, I don't even know where to go. Like, I didn't expect you to be this openly evil. I expected you to push back and have reasons for why the things that you do that are evil seem evil, but they're not actually evil. But they're evil.
the point I was making was that
You're evil.
if you're yeah, I mean, why? So let's dive into it. Why would you be malicious to what do you define as a socialist conservative? Because as much as I find socialist libertarian to be oxymoronic, I also find socialist conservative to be
not
oxymoronic.
socialist, social conservative.
Ha! Say! I knew what I was talking about when I didn't know what I was talking about.
No, but you call yourself a socialist libertarian, do you not?
Libertarian socialist. Generally speaking, simplified that I want workers who produce things to eventually own the means of production. I'm a big fan of worker co-ops. I like social democracy.
How many of those are working right now?
What do you mean? Worker co-ops?
Yeah. How many of those are functional?
There are quite a few that are functional.
So then why the fuck do we need the government to tell us to do it if people can just do it?
Wait, I never said that I want the government
That was a good setup.
to force worker co-ops. I like
What
to
do you
create
think, sir?
incentives for worker co-ops.
Okay.
Hopefully one day we'd move to like a market socialist society and we can abolish government. Dream. That's going to take a while. For now, I'm in favor of social democracy and the eradication of poverty.
So I mean,
The
that was just kind of
eradication
an
of
aside
poverty.
about why I don't think.
Yeah, we need to fight poverty. We need to get poverty on the stand and send him away to jail. In a film said I used to be in the Judean People's Party. Then I had to join the Party of Judean People.
What?
I don't know what that means. I'm lost. I don't know what we're talking about.
Eradication of poverty.
So I mean, that was just kind of an aside about why I don't think it makes sense. And again, the words matter. And again, you're listening to people who are just using words at their convenience. So you're using oxymoronic terms, not even realizing it. But why are you malicious towards somebody who is a social conservative? Do you believe that everybody who considers themselves a social conservative to be a immoral person?
Oh, actually, I believe that regardless of what your political views are, I believe that there are a lot of conservatives who are moral. Actually, I think there are a lot of conservatives that I know personally that are more moral than even the most liberal people that I know.
I very much agree with that. I'd say it's usually the
So when
case.
I'm
Let's not go
malicious
there.
to social
But the
conservatives,
question was,
I was gonna say it's usually the case, but let's not even go there.
the question was why? Why are you malicious?
No one has to wonder shit. He has never worked on anything that I mean, he works out, he does jujitsu as of this conversation. But no,
To them.
because generally they support policies and actions that create harm in society.
And what does being malicious do to change that?
Essentially making sure that they have very little power. So
oh, how did that work out? MAGA, baby! Ah, it feels so good to be right.
I want to essentially break the
So
back of the
might is
Republican
right.
Party.
In your world,
I want conservatives to have very little power. Yes.
I did not.
Whoopsies.
Might is
So
right.
why wouldn't? So again, a man convinced against.
In case you're just happen to have stumbled upon this in the future, yes, Donald Trump did just destroy the popular vote a couple months ago.
Might is
So
right.
why wouldn't? So again, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still.
Shout out to Papa Lutch. Loves that saying. I don't want to be part of this douche nozzle society. Thank you very much. None of I have anything to do with it. This man will have no power as long as I have anything to do with it.
This is the same the same argument about fat shaming. That if you're fat and there's pressure to not be fat, that doesn't work.
Yeah, and again, we have the comment, many of those conservatives are bioterrorists, but they're moral people. So you can be a moral bioterrorist the same way that Trump can be a moral, evil Hitlerian dictator.
What? Hell no.
It's almost like those things don't make sense. Yeah, no, agreed. Agreed. I'm just saying as far, that's probably as far as he's gone.
That if you're fat and there's pressure to not be fat, that doesn't work. But somehow it works with the jab. Somehow it works with political opinions. I'm wondering what's the difference. Where do you okay? So where are the numbers that say shaming conservatives for their beliefs turns them into liberals?
No,
Because
I don't
usually
think- I
it
don't
seems
think
to
they're
be the
very
other way
strong
around.
numbers.
Usually it's liberals
Mhm.
shaming other liberals, turning them into conservatives. That's what I've seen more often. But since you're the numbers guy, I will.
See, I don't
it up
think
to
there
you.
is
Where are
a
the numbers?
strong analysis on that. I'm operating off of intuition and guessing. I'm not.
But I thought you were a
exactly sure.
numbers guy. I thought that was such a ridiculous, irrational thing.
Intuition? Intuition?
How dare you?
There's numbers.
To not look at the numbers. There has to be numbers on this, right?
I've looked for numbers. I haven't found any strong numbers. So until those numbers come out, I'll
Then we can't know anything.
going off of gut instinct until I have numbers to prove otherwise.
That makes you a bioterrorist, man.
Definitely, man.
It's just how do you not see that? That's precisely the same argument that I have for making my own medical decisions. I don't have the numbers on the whatever is happening with the narrative. I don't have all the information, is what I'm trying to say. I don't have all the information that I need to understand what is going on with this, why it's so shady, why the FDA covered this up till 2076. That's
Okay.
fucking shady. And until I understand why, until I understand who's benefiting and for what purpose, then I'm just going to step back. I'm not doing anything to anybody.
But being a bioterrorist. And so it's just so convenient. When you don't have numbers on something, then, well yeah, we're going to use intuition. But when I say we don't have numbers on something that you just happen not to care about, then you're like, well, then we should just go on different numbers.
What?
Oh, what are we doing, Mark? Nick, that's why we support you, brother. You're actually a good person, unlike this kid. Well, I don't think he's a bad person. He's just an ignorant child. I don't say a kid in regards to his age, but his level of reasoning. I think that's the main thing. I would not be surprised if he was a little bit more reasonable these days. I would almost expect it, except for the fact that he's so stuck. He seems to be very confident in his own bullshit in this video. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't bet on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was a lot more reasonable these days. But I don't know. Yeah, I never know.
Step back. I'm not doing anything to anybody.
All right. Look, Lutch, I think we might have different disagreements for what it counts as cost onto society and cost on the individual.
Yeah, mine are right and yours are wrong.
I do think that the skepticism that we would have to the absence of evidence, not necessarily our ability to understand the evidence, are two different things.
That's a great point, Dustin. Sorry to interrupt you, but that is really a fantastic point.
Dustin said, imagine mandating chemo for cancer patients.
Imagine mandating chemo for cancer patients.
I mean, if it was effective.
I'm just letting you guys know that if I get to the age of 45, and I'm not saying anything about the next 10 years. I'm just saying for sure, if I'm over 45 and I get terminal cancer, there is no fucking way I'm doing chemotherapy. I'm going to live out whatever I can live out, and then I'm done. But again, Anna Rude would say, no, we are going to force you to have radiation and chemical therapy. I don't know where else to take this.
Chemo of
So you don't think
unfortunately-
somebody who has a terminal disease has the right to just die on their own?
Oh no, the right to death is there. So if a person
Oh, he's
needs
all
treatment for
about that. He's all about the right to die.
cancer, and chemo is very, very effective, I'm fine with mandating it. Generally, but I would leave that.
Wait, but that's not what. You're not listening, Anirudh. You're not listening. I asked you the question about wanting to die, and you said yes, but then you said mandating it would be fine.
Very, very effective. I'm fine with mandating it. Generally, but I would leave that to doctor's discretion.
That's not mandating it.
Spoke out of both sides of your mouth. If you're mandating chemo and someone decides, I don't want to go through that, I want to spend my last months as a normal person, I don't want the chemo, you're saying, fuck you.
For a person who wishes for treatment. And
No. We're talking about a person who wishes for no treatment. That's what we're talking about. Does he think I'm asking about people who want chemo? Can they get chemo? That's how it already works.
Through that, I want to spend my last months as a normal person, I don't want the chemo. You're saying, fuck you.
for a person who wishes for treatment. And chemo is 100%
We're not, you're
effective.
saying we're talking about mandates. We're not talking about wishes. We're
Yeah,
talking
no,
about
so
people.
there are conditions for why
A
that
mandate is
exists.
irrelevant to somebody who wants what's being mandated. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
There's no, we don't, okay, we agree on that. So we're not
Yeah,
talking
so
about
then
the people who
if-
wish
if
they have it. We're
everyone-
talking about the people who don't want it. You
So
want it
chemo
to
as it is,
mandate. You want to
I'm not in
mandate.
favor of that mandate.
You
For
so
chemo as it is.
No, he knows. He knows what it is. He's just okay with forcing people to do things, and he just doesn't understand his own positions. He understands. If you ask him a question in a vacuum, he can answer that question. But what him and other people like this don't understand is that things are connected. And so that's why it's reasonable to bring up fat shaming and abortion and chemo and all of these things, because the principle is the same. But he doesn't understand. He doesn't have principle. He just has answers that mommy and daddy and a government and the professor and whoever else told him to say. He doesn't have ideas. He doesn't have principles. He just has, well, this is the right thing, so it should be the right thing. What I think about it? I think they said it's the right thing, so that's what it is.
So you're are taking back what you said, or you're
Yeah.
saying, okay,
The statement that I made is if these
Great
conditions
point,
are
Dustin.
met, then I agree with this. Those conditions are not met in the real world. So yeah, I would not be in favor of a chemo mandate. That would not be effective
Why?
at anything.
Why?
why does it? Why? But again, why does effective come before what the person wants?
If the person wants to survive, if the person wants to,
They're terminal. You don't survive. That's what that means.
if the person wants to survive, if the person wants to live, then they have the option of chemo.
They have the
Right.
option. They're not going to live. It's terminal cancer. They are going to die in.
If they're
let's
going to
call
die-
it. Let's say 6 months. They're going to die in
Then-
6 months.
Then it's up their discretion between them and their doctor.
Okay.
no
And
reason for the
so
government to
what if?
legislate.
So that would be not mandated then.
So then what if they're going to live for a year?
Once again, between them and their doctor.
Okay. So what if they're going to live for 5 years?
I don't see a cost-effective reason for the government to get involved.
So where's this mandate? You just said
I'd
you're in
s-
favor of a mandate, and then you're saying you're not in favor of
So-
a mandate. You're saying you're in favor of a mandate, but then not if it's
okay.
this year.
Let me amend the statement.
We can definitely do that.
I was in favor of a mandate if that chemo resolves cancer. If they're terminally
It
ill, they're
does.
going to die either way.
Proven effectiveness. Look at the numbers.
No, chemo is not 100% effective.
Nobody said
It's not as-
100%. Nobody. Who said 100%?
Chemo is not. No. Okay, let me rephrase this. I'm being stupid here. Chemo is not the
Glad we
same as a
agree.
vaccine
I'm kidding.
because it is not effective at no
As
cost.
effective.
It's not as effective relative to
I
the
agree with that.
cost as a vaccine. Therefore, it is mathematically stupid to mandate it.
That's so. It's so funny that you're
I'm so glad that I'm this luch and not that luch. I feel bad for that luch.
the original tweet that you. I don't remember if it was your words or the original tweet that you quoted to say about Tim Pool was talking about mental gymnastics. The mental gymnastics.
Projection. This entire thing. has been him Simone Biles level mental gymnastics through this whole conversation.
Just as about Tim Pool was talking about mental gymnastics. The mental gymnastics, they call me Jesus in Discord. So, there
it is, guys. There it is. Who heard that? I didn't even know that
they
was
call
a
me
thing.
Jesus in Discord.
Wait.
They call me Jesus in Discord. So,
And now they all call me the
the mental gymnastics you just had to do to say, no, I don't think that we should mandate chemo. Where
yeah,
you
that was a
first wanted it
mistake
to be
that I
happen,
made.
and then you didn't want it to happen, and then you were putting time on it, and
No,
then we're not putting time on
I'll
it.
take the L on that one. That was a mistake on my part.
on that one. Okay, well, it was hard fought. It was hard fought, but we got the one L. Everybody but L and Rude. We got one. We got him to say at least one thing that I was right about. Even though he agreed with a bunch of stuff. It's just the one.
And these are, and the point, I'm not just trying to pick on you. I'm trying to point out that this isn't something that just happened there. This is a recurring theme in the points that you make. That they're based on a very narrow view of whatever we're talking about. And usually it's the economic side or something to do with numbers and something like that.
Yep. I also said this child hasn't confronted his own mortality. It's problematic. And it's kind of tangentially related to something I was just asking on my community tab about when you learned the reality of like having to discipline yourself and like do not just get by, but like, yeah, you could just skate by in life, but that you want to have the discipline of doing things properly. And I think people who are over is academized. That's not a word, right? Academic. If they're overly influenced by academia, then there is a maybe not clear, but there seems to be a lack of intrinsic drive. It's always about appeasing the teacher, the professor, the doctor, the this, the that. It doesn't come from within. And problematic is a good word for it. Next to my mom had to fight with a doctor to honor my papa's wishes of stopping blood transfusions that were going through him. Not helping at all, making him very sick. The nuns, priests, nurses, doctors, and hospital administrators all backed him and my dad's decision. And they still needed all that bullshit. It's and nobody is claiming, nobody's trying to claim that any of these systems are perfect. The point here is that we shouldn't be making them any worse than they already are. I mean, when it comes to looking around the world, yeah, we have a great medical system, medical science, all that stuff. But on an individual level, it doesn't really work out that way. But the idea is to minimize the bullshit. Context said street smarts versus book smarts has never been more apparent or important. Yep. You're correct, sir.
And usually it's the economic side or something to do with numbers and something like that. And so what I'm saying to you again is that how much school do you have left?
Nope.
That's
one that I have missed. That is one that I've missed. That is definitely one we could watch together in Discord for a movie night. Join Discord. Become a member.
Is that how much school do you have left?
Last semester, I'm graduating in May.
So
again, just to think about who you were when you were months away from graduating high school, graduating college, whatever it was. Think of how different of a person you are now. And think of how confidently that you were not going to change and be a different person from then. Those two ideas, I'm not going to change, and who I really am, they're so far apart that I'm glad that I had the foresight not to be like, oh, well, you're young, you're young, you're young. I did bring it up because it is a relevant factor. But I think it would have undercut what I was saying to blame it all on his age. Even though, I think that's a very huge factor. I instead attack the principles and the points that he was making. And I think that's the way to go. That's the way to go. And certainly, I made a lot of mistakes here, and I definitely could have been better. But I think that was a good choice. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! The love, it almost hurts. It's so good, baby. Oh my God! Thank you. Funk Master General. No question, no comment, just pure love of the Overlord. There he is. High five. Give me a high five. You want to give me a shake instead? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Very, very much, sir. Oh, you can tell how much he appreciates that. Very, very, very much appreciated. And who said it? Where is it? Somebody's saying, I need the funk, man. I need the funk. The funk coming through. Thank you so very, very much. Of course, out sponsoring yourself. Let's get that right now before I forget. Oh, did I already forget? Oh, nobody told me I already forgot. Come on, guys. Funk Master General with no space between Funk and Master, and that's not how you spell General. $40 fucking dollars, bro. Thank you so very, very much. Everybody put FMG in the chat. Put FMG in the chat. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you. All right, so he's graduating in May.
When you graduate, if you, and I'm not being facetious, if there is any possibility that you have the time to either travel or take time out or do anything besides go into econometrics,
Go live your fucking life.
at least 6 months to a year, I think it would change your life in amazing ways. And you're a super smart dude. You're very well read. You'll have the same job opportunities at 23 that you will have at 22. I genuinely think that you are the kind of person who could be a real force for good or a real force for bad. Because
I'm not familiar with Alice's restaurant. That can be where we start the after party. Quantic said 18-year-old me would have hated current me, but secretly admired and wanted what I had. Yep, I feel that for sure. And I don't even have, the accoutrement of life, if you know what I mean.
because the things that you're saying are not coming across to you the way that they come across to other people. And you not realizing
shown on my part. No, that is an issue on my part.
And that's
Like I said, I risked my life and sang with Mexicans to get that money. Well, I mean, how can we not give it a dilly dilly, man? Thank you so much, brother. I know we joke, but that does mean so much to me. Thank you.
that's why I'm not. That's why I'm being serious, and I'm talking to you as a friend. That the idea that you have espoused these things and you don't see how they are not congruent with just civil society and holding these blanket opinions about groups of people, things like that, and just looking at everything based on, well, what are the numbers? That is not a good way to live. That is not a good way to view people in general. It's not, and when I say good, I mean effective. It's not effective. It's not an effective way to learn about things, especially because you first started by saying you're malicious to social conservatives, and then 2 sentences later you said a lot of the conservatives are a lot nicer than some of the liberals that you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just fucking big bro in this skit right now.
And so you need to. I think as much as anybody who has you know a very robust academic career, that is, you know, the opportunity cost of that is that you're not out there living
Living
in the same
life.
way. You know,
Right
all
now,
the time
I'm just
that
applying for jobs in tech, but yeah,
yeah.
that's
But I
still
mean,
not living either.
well, and I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, you're a loser, you don't have a life, but I just mean like, if you're doing, you know, you're a smart guy, you're going far in school. Obviously, that takes time to read and do homework and write papers and stuff. So I mean, it's not a negative, or
I mean, it is a negative. I'm just not giving him shit like that for it.
a personal attack. It's just a fact of, if you're doing one thing, there's just every other thing that exists, you can't be doing it.
All right, then I'll
Opportunity
take your
cost.
criticism at its word. Thank you for being good faith with me. I'm sorry if I would have said some stuff that offended you, but I think my broader points about the efficacy of mandates still hold like mathematical sense and economic sense. But thank you for having me on. I do have to head out in a minute.
All right. Well,
Let's see, because I definitely, there's some time left. So I was talking and I don't know what I said. So I'm gonna speed it up. We'll finish this up and we'll head over to the after party. Shout out to the disciples, guys. Remember, if you are a member, then the party rages on. We are headed over to the Discord. Now, again, the Discord is free to join, but if you join as a free member, you're just gonna get the free chat channel. If you are a member, again, it's just $3 for the whole month. Then you can join our after party, and it's a good time. Let's do it.
so yeah, let's see what Dustin says before we leave. I hate that it comes to this, but I do see it. I don't like the idea of dismissing someone because of their generation, but that's not what's happening
Why are you reading so fast?
here. There's flawed logic.
Well, Dustin,
I-
next time I'll try to be better at explaining myself. This was definitely me taking the L on the latter half of this conversation.
In the beginning.
I will say he was the guest in IDRIB 06. What was it? I think it was 06. Number 6. The Greater Man is a great book that he wrote. And you know, we had a great conversation about that. So you know, he's not some dumbass. He's a smart guy.
I am a dumbass.
You're kind of a dumbass, but in the same way that
he
we're all
said
kind of a dumbass. You're a
He
smart
said
dude.
it.
You have a very you know, but and automatically, does this fit in that numbers filter, or do I need another way to so
Yeah,
if you're still watching.
All right, let's see.
All right. So yeah, Dustin, do you want to hop up here? If you're still watching. I think that, you know, for anybody watching the replay, you know,
That's us. We're watching the replay, guys.
the main thing I want to get across certainly is that you know, I definitely believe Anna Root is wrong, but if you could see at the end, even though he does think I'm a terrorist, he believes that, and he was realizing in that moment that, like, he knows me well. I mean, he doesn't know me that well. We did our episode in like August or September or something, and we've kept in touch.
No, I said the conversation was good. I didn't read that fucking book.
Just about different political things, and the shallow bitch. Yeah, we kept in touch, and it just, a lot of things that I was saying, he would come at in a weird angle, and then he would come at it in a weird angle, and you know,
Just speed this up to see what we
I'm really interested now for the panel that we're going to do with a couple of other guys. There's going to be another lefty on another lefty atheist, so I'll have an atheist friend, and then another middle-aged lifelong conservative, as well as another dude who is a Tim Pool fan. I don't really know about his personal politics, but I found his book through the Tim Pool Castle of Law.
All right, so that was Blaine Pardo. So we can check out some of that. It seems like you guys are not really interested in seeing much more of Anna Root, which I don't blame you, but it is really fun for me. Yeah, man. I knew back then that you guys would be here. They say, if you build it, they will come. I built it, and you came. Thank you. So, very much. Should we give Morty an extra one just because he's cute? Yeah. All right. What does he keep looking up? His image of Nick said, you're just making me like you more and more. You should join the Discord. I assume you're talking to Arrow. I agree. So come on through, guys. Thank you so very, very much for. I'm gonna come. Thank you so very much for coming through, hanging out, especially a big, big shout out to those of you who donated. It is huge. It is huge. And means the fucking world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, as always, we gotta give our boy Funk Master General fucking stars for once again sponsoring the stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. But everybody, it is a team effort. Funk couldn't do it by himself. I can't do it by myself. Can't nobody do it by themselves. We are a team, and I am so blessed to have you guys with me. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out. Once again, guys, we have little Morty right here, the Overlord, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are